30 in this 10-game road trip. For the month of May, hitting .216 with a .281 on base, .353 slug, .634 OPS. And then Leo Rivas, he was – I don't put as much on him because he's not playing every single day, but we were raving about it. I mean, he had a .500 on base. The guy was just getting on base left and right. In the 10-game series, he was 1 for 13. For the month of May, a $179, .281 on base, .214 slug, .496. Then you throw in Ben Williamson, who has not been good in the month of May. I don't put as much on him, a rookie, but just shows how many spots you're not getting production for the month of May. And specifically this road trip, guys that were carrying this team in April have really, most notably Crawford and Polanco, really, and Polanco having a really down month of May.
Man. Yeah, until I saw your I didn't realize it was that bad. So, yeah, I mean, you look at the month of May, is it 155?
Yeah, 234 on base.
Wow.
Slugging 241. I mean, on the trip, he was 2 for 23.
Yeah. Well, and the good news, he's still not striking out a whole lot. He did in the series. He had 6 strikeouts, but... and that was one of the things when he was carrying the team that stood out about him. But, yeah, it's not been a good month for him. But I don't know. I don't worry too much about him. He seems to have found something, and I think this is just a slump for him. But, we'll see. It was just weird how good he was hitting in the beginning of the season. But another thing I think you overlooked, Bob, is that Donnie Barrel's got his second RBI. So I thought that was
a big moment.
Cool. Yeah,
he actually had a couple games
doubled his production
with a hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, he's got that. Let's see, he's got that average up to a robust 171.
Yeah.
Huh? All right.
Well, another thing that came to fruition, we asked Dan Wilson, during spring training, how many games you think he'll get thrown out of.
Yeah.
And there's number one. He cracked the seal on it. I was listening to the interview afterwards, and he was trying to say every word that he possibly could say that wouldn't engage in the question. It's just, I don't want to take away anything from this road trip. And if you saw afterwards, he
just said you can't argue balls and strikes.
Yeah, and he gets kind of talked around it and everything. And I was like, it was kind of refreshing. I've never seen Dan Wilson.
Well, they were saying that's the first time he's been ejected as a player or a manager.
Wow.
That's
pretty incredible.
I don't know what he said. I don't think Dan curses.
I don't think he does.
So
either.
I don't know what
I think
it was.
There was a lot
said.
of dad gummit and that kind of thing going on up there.
Yeah. I think he was. I told you what I thought he was saying, but I can't repeat that. Something about Altuve. But yeah,
everything has to do with Altuve. As much as you think I bring up Cal, you bring up Altuve.
Well,
you're speaking him into existence
because he just wrecked this team for over 4 games. It's very present right now. So. Yeah, it just wildly frustrating series. Just super frustrating to watch. The offense just really go flat. Again, in their 4, they've lost 4 of their last 6. In those 4, they've totaled 6 runs. In one of those games, they got shut out. So this was an offense that we were talking about against the Padres. I think they averaged 5 runs per game. They barely had 5 runs in their last 4 losses. So. Yeah, maybe it's just one of the valleys. We talked about the peaks and valleys, and this is, unfortunately, the valleys coming against the Astros to end the road trip, so it's that taste in your mouth. I'm glad there's a game tonight. I'm glad that they start this 9-game homestand because yesterday living with that and watching other baseball, I was just like, ugh. It just so disappointing. I was like, is this me? Why am I so disappointed? 6-4. I would have signed up for that immediately. But it felt bad.
Yeah.
And I've got some concerns about this offense. We knew they were going to come back. We knew some of these guys were. Polanco was not going to hit at the clip that he was hitting in the month of April. It was ridiculous. You knew that wasn't going to last. But it feels like all these guys are starting to come back at the same time. Him and JP. And, again, Dylan Moore was hot. And it just, I don't know. It's just, hopefully the other guys that are getting hot, Cal remains hot, Julio, Arozarena, maybe they're going to have to carry more of the load and somebody else will start kicking in. But, yeah, just you knew those guys would come back a bit. They'd just come back way more than I thought they would.
Yeah, I mean, but of these 4 guys that you mentioned here, you got Crawford, Polanco, Dylan Moore, Leo Rivas, and probably Rivas is out. But as far as, being in the running for answering this question, but who do you think's most likely to bounce back? That this is maybe just kind of a blip for them. Is it JP, Jorge, Polanco, or Dylan Moore?
Yeah.
I mean, like you
I'd
said,
like to say Polanco because he's got more
Same.
thump. He's got more thunder in his bat than Crawford does.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, I mean, he did do it for a pretty significant amount of time. I mean, we knew it wasn't going to go the way it was in the very beginning. Or did he start out with maybe 3 or 4 games that were? But I mean, he had a really good start to the season, and we know it's not going to be that.
For the month of April, he hit 379 with a 442 on base, 862 slug, 1284 OPS. You knew that wasn't gonna.
Yeah.
You knew he was gonna. We talked about it. Like, all right, hopefully he can. Get back to. He's gonna fall somewhere around 270, 265, something like that. And then he went from that to 155, 234, 241, 476 OPS.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's concerning. I wouldn't say it's worrisome because you look at the offensive numbers and look, it's just, they started out and I don't know, is this a trend? That would be the only thing. If, they continue, JP, continues at this rate, especially Polanco dropping to 155. But, you look at their offensive numbers right now. I mean, they're top 10 or number 11 in a couple of categories or, hits, they're 21st. As far as their average, they're 21st. But if you look at home runs, they're number 6. RBIs, they're number 10. Stolen bases, they're number 9 with 49 stolen bases. Their OPS is at 11. Slug is number 11. On base percentage 10. So, those are some pretty good stats. Like we talked about, I mean, the pitching, if that can get turned around, I think I'm more concerned about that, or I would say worried about that than this part of it, this offensive part of it.
All right, let's take 2.
Well, a couple of AL West updates. So the A's snapped an 11-game losing streak on Sunday. A lot of those came against the Phillies. I'm sure Hombre will be happy about that later. They have a 2-game series against the Astros. Those weird 2-game division series kind of continued this season. And then the Angels, they've been very hot. They had an 8-game win streak. They've now lost 3 straight, and they're in the middle of a series against the Yankees today.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not just the Mariners losing against teams. We saw the Dodgers get swept by the Angels. Saw I believe the Yankees, did they lose to Colorado? They lose a game to them?
They lost 1 game to them, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even that.
Yeah,
Colorado's got 9 wins on the season. So if you're a Yankees fan, you're out there going, what in the hell?
Yeah.
How do you lose to the Rockies?
I would think everybody went out partying the night before that game.
Yeah. So, look, as disappointing as the road trip was, the way it ended, yeah, there are a lot of moments throughout baseball if you're watching going, how did that team lose to that team? What the heck happened there?
Yeah.
All I can say is go A's. Go A's in this 2-game series.
Exactly. I was looking at the Rockies just for fun, and they have 5 wins at home. 5 wins
4 on the road
that those fans got to enjoy.
Brutal.
Well, yeah, think about it. You're like at 1 win a week pace.
Yeah.
1 win a week.
Awful.
There we go. To the NFL, we got OTAs starting around the league today. There's some noticeable absences. Kirk Cousins, not there with the Falcons. Then the Bills announced that I guess last week, Joey Bosa suffered a calf injury. He's going to be out until at least training camp.
That's not good for a new acquisition, and Kirk Cousins wants to be a starter. He's apparently had a conversation with Arthur Blank and wants to be a starter, and he wanted them to release him, and they said, well, we owe him $27.5 million regardless, so we might as well keep him as the backup, at least for the time being. So I don't know. There's some thought that if Aaron Rodgers doesn't decide to play for the Steelers, that Steelers could make a move for Cousins.
Yeah, that's interesting. I kind of root for Kirk Cousins just because he's done a really good job as far as his money goes. But then also, if you look at his completion percentage, and he just seems like a good guy. C-Raj was telling a story about how he was at a Mariner-Yankee game wearing a Mariner hat.
He was?
Yeah. And
This year?
yeah.
Yep. When they were here last week or 2 weeks ago.
Was it 2 weeks
He
ago?
was here in Seattle?
Yeah, very random because
Yeah.
I guess his cousin's on the Yankees or something, but he's wearing a Mariners hat.
He's wearing Mariners
No one
gear.
knew why he was there.
Huh. All right. Well, good on him.
He really
he's
hates
supporting
his
the
cousin.
M's. Yeah, he was really sticking it to the cousin there. All right. Take Two is brought to you by Swedish Cyberknife. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife. Swedish.org/cyberknife prostate. Are there more unknowns than certainties with this Mariners team right now? We'll get into that next with Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
Things have tightened up in the race for the top of the AL West.
Julio, an RBI double, and this game is tied.
Tonight, the first-place Mariners return home to T-Mobile, kicking off a 9-game homestand in the first of 3 against the Nationals. Wyman and Bob take you up to pregame at 5:30, first pitch at 6:40 on the home of the Mariners and the race for the AL West. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
An Australian hiker travels to the American West to walk a wilderness trail.
Wasn't afraid to be out on his own.
But Eric Robinson vanished in the high Uinta Mountains.
I remember thinking, Eric, what were you thinking, mate?
I'm Dave Cawley. Join me on my podcast, Uinta Triangle, where I travel the world to answer the question, what happened to Eric Robinson? Follow Uinta Triangle. That's UINTA Triangle on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Hey, Mike Salk here, and great news this August. Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. Yes, the hotel is finally opening. You can book now for an unforgettable summer experience at snocasino.com. Breathtaking views of the Cascades in Snoqualmie Valley, an expanded non-smoking gaming floor, awesome destination spa, a 2,000-seat entertainment space and convention center, and yes, new food venues, restaurants as well. You can book at snocasino.com. Seattle's closest. It's now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Barbecue season is back. Hey, it's Ellen.
And this is Sarah Beth.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that zesty barbecue sauce. I love that it was a little sweet, a little tangy, and with the mac and cheese,
I feel like I tasted the brown sugar bacon first. It was the absolute best combination. Pro tip, 3 sandwiches are always better than 1.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and a Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
The first Mariners Fireworks Night is coming up, and we're starting things off with a bang. Be here this Friday for our K-pop fireworks show, presented by T-Mobile, after the team takes on the Twins at 7:10.
Jorge Polanco, his second home run of the night. He is absolutely on fire.
Get ready for an epic dance party as we light up the sky with a post-game show powered by the biggest global hits, fireworks, and Mariners baseball. That's 2 spectacular shows in one unforgettable night.
JP with a flip, and they got him at first base. How in the world?
Visit Mariners.com/fireworks to get your tickets and see the complete lineup of all 6 Mariners fireworks nights this summer, including a sing-along show on June 13th and a patriotic palooza on July 3rd. Plus, check out everything else on deck at T-Mobile Park, like 3 straight Mariners value games against the Orioles starting Tuesday, June 3rd. Mariners baseball. Try dance up.
Did you know that your windows and doors are your main source of energy loss? At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, our windows with triple weather stripping and gasket seals are up to 25% more efficient than Energy Star standards. LakeWashingtonWindows.com, a name you can trust.
Stacy here. Sell your car to Wayscar Ford, and when they resell it, they share half their profit with you. That's right. Sell your car to Wayscar Ford, Isuzu, and Auburn. They'll pay you today for your car, and once they resell it, they'll share half their profit with you. WayscarFord.com.
The home of the Mariners.
It is gone! Cal Raleigh, 2-run home run.
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
I like my teacher because she helps me with my problems at school.
No matter how old you get, you always remember that one great teacher. Hi, this is Rick Riz, inviting you to join WSECU in celebrating Teacher of the Week. This year, we're going to honor 24 great teachers with grants of $500, sponsored by WSECU, the credit union for Washington. Nominate an exceptional teacher now at mynorthwest.com/teacher.
Summer is on everyone's mind, and many of us ladies, well, you men too, would like to get rid of that extra stubborn fat and address those areas of loose skin like around the waistline, chin, and upper arms. Maybe you've tried the lasers, fat freezing methods, even those new pills, but without getting the results you were hoping for. Introducing ProSculpt, the new one-day instant permanent fat removal and skin tightening treatment. ProSculpt is minimally invasive, performed while you're fully awake, and it's gentle yet powerful. Designed to target the waistline, chin, neck, arms, and thighs, ProSculpt uses FDA-cleared plasma technology to deliver immediate and permanent fat-reducing and skin-tightening results, all in just one visit. Go to ProSculpt.com today to schedule your free consultation, and for a limited time, get $250 off. Feel confident this summer with instant, permanent fat reduction and skin tightening that works for women and men too. ProSculpt.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
This hour is brought to you by Legacy Group Capital's Northwest Fund.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Wyman and Bob.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Text line is there for you at 866-979-3776. Coming up on the show today, I don't know if I said this to open the show because we were talking about the misery of the ending of this road trip, but Ryan Rowland-Smith will join us at 3 p.m. We'll talk to Ryan Rowland-Smith about what he saw out there on that road trip. Charlie Furbush joins us in studio from 4 to 5 o'clock as he does each week. Talk Mariner baseball with him, and then El Hombre, Michael Bradley, joining us at 5 p.m. So, much coming your way. Just kick back, relax, enjoy the weather outside. We'll carry you through the afternoon up to Mariners pregame at 5:30. Meanwhile, this is a team that's I'm curious from fans out there, and again, you guys can text in 866-979-3776. Is this a playoff team? Is this a good team? What do you have a feel? We were 52 games into the season. You got 110 left. Usually Memorial Day for people is a marker. For me, I usually look at 40-ish games. We're at 52 now. What do you think? Do you feel like you've got a grip on this team? Are they good? Are they great? Are they
I thought I did until you look at some of the numbers. Now, the one thing, though, I would say that maybe we're not paying enough attention to is just what Cal and Julio are doing right now. Now, can you get it done with just two guys? No, but those guys need to be your superstars. And in that series, that 10-day road trip, they were. You know, especially, I think especially meaningful is the 5 strikeouts for Julio. In 40 plate appearances, he only struck out 5 times. And that was a problem for him, man. So, yeah, I mean, maybe look more that way. The other thing I'm a little bit more encouraged by, you took 2 out of 3 from Houston in that first series, because I was kind of, dancing around the whole, is it a bad matchup? But, they took 2 out of that 3-game series, and one of them that they lost, they didn't give up an earned run. They lost 2-1. So, I mean, that very easily could have been a sweep there, and then really, the worst loss was the first night, 9-2. But yeah, I mean, on Saturday they lost 2-1. This was a late inning loss here. I think at the bottom of the 9th. So I don't know. I'm not so discouraged about just the team in general. But as far as the players go, I don't want to say that everybody has to play their best. But, we can't have some of the things that you were just talking about during the break about Dylan Moore defensively.
Yeah, he's been a butcher. Let's call it what it is. Like the guy, had a great interview with him a couple weeks ago. Super nice guy. He's a valuable piece to the team, can play everywhere. Picked up the Gold Glove for, utility guy last year. And so far this year, he's had some costly errors. He's got 5 errors on the season, couple at third, couple at second, 1 at first. And he's not alone. I mean, JP's had some errors at that throw the other day. I was like, what was that? Throw to first, routine play, and just fires it wide left. And, the Wu error, I'd give him slack. That's a pitcher running off the mound, fielding the ball, and then he's off balance, falling backwards. Shouldn't have thrown it, but he did. But he's not your infielder, right? That's a pitcher trying to make a play. Hurt his own cause. That's the game you lose 2-1. Both of those runs unearned. He was great again. Goes 6 innings again. No earned runs, no walks, 5 strikeouts, but the offense managed 1 run in that game. So you couldn't afford to give up those 2. So yeah, it's been some sloppy ball out there. Some of the timely hitting, as we talked about. They've dropped 4 of 6, and in those 4 games, you scored 6 total runs. Jeff Passan on with Brock and Salk talked about a couple of things. First of all, just talked about the struggles with the offense recently.
Certainly, it has had some issues over the last, week and change. Jorge Polanco has seemingly stopped hitting, and Dylan Moore isn't really hitting anymore, and Ben Williamson coming back to earth. J.P. Crawford hasn't been great. It hasn't been good. But these are the ups and downs of a season, guys. And I would say that over those first 52 games, far more good can be said about these Mariners than bad.
And he's right about that. I mean, they surprised everybody in April. I mean, we didn't expect, and that was before Julio got going and other, look, part of it is you're dealing with injuries. You're overcoming injuries. You're overcoming what's gone on with the rotation, losing 3 of your 5 starters, losing Robles and losing Raley and Bliss, and Dylan Moore was hurt for a while, and Polanco's still not hitting from the right side. So you're trying to overcome all of that, but it's been such a massive. It's night and day. It wasn't a gradual. All right, they're starting to come back to the pack. We looked at those numbers. I mean, Polanco, what did I say, 375, 379 for the month of April, hitting $155. I mean, it's a complete reverse. It's not all right, he's cooled off a bit. No, he's icy cold. He's icy cold. But despite all of that, Passan says he feels like the Mariners are still the best team in the division.
I think that there's a very compelling reason to say that they are the best team in the American League West, in spite of what you've seen over that last chunk of games. And it's because they are a well-rounded team. And that's not something I thought, guys, I was going to be saying about the Mariners coming into the season.
Yeah, because this is a team of pitching. And, so I can understand why he didn't say that. And they didn't do hardly anything in the offseason to fix that problem. But, I think coming in, they were thinking that they were going to, and they invested in Cal, and they thought, hey, our superstars are going to eventually get to the point where they can, be consistent. And then we're going to have just killer pitching. And we've been without, Kirby and Logan Gilbert and Miller. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens when that comes back. But really, the numbers, if you look at them offensively, and then the pitching numbers, the pitching numbers are the ones that really need the biggest repair.
Yeah, but at least that makes sense. You look at it and go, well, I get it. You got 2 young. You got Logan Evans, Emerson Hancock in there. You got guys. You had to start like Amina in the game, an opener. You've been piecing that together. So those struggles make sense. The Bryce Miller one didn't, while he was healthy or while he was performing. Apparently wasn't healthy. He was feeling something throughout the season. But those are, I guess, easier to come to terms with because you're going, well, yeah, it's not their guys. You're looking at the lineup going, those are your guys. And they're not hitting. So how do you feel there? You're missing a couple bats, but Luke Raley was really struggling before he got hit, so it wasn't like you had this really productive bat that's now been taken out of the lineup and you're trying to compensate. He wasn't producing prior to getting hurt. Robles was a guy you lost really early, so you've been without him for a while now. Mm-hmm. Same is true for Bliss, who you weren't really counting on offensively speaking. That was a defensive omission there, or defensive miss on his part. So, yeah, they're pitching makes sense. The offense, we said it at the beginning of the year. They just don't have the luxury. They don't have the depth to, I guess, overcome a bunch of guys, 5 of your 9, 6 of your 9, struggling like they are right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's tough. It's just that, I would have never guessed, though, that their numbers for the season would be where they're at. And I get you're talking about just the last month, but look, you have ebbs and flows. And so, if you would have presented, on-base percentage being at number 10 ranked in Major League Baseball right now after 52 games, I would have said probably not.
Well, some of that's because they walk a lot. Especially early in the season, they were walking. They were top. What are they numbered? I haven't looked lately. They were number 1, then they were number 2. I'm certain they're still in the top 5.
Well, their slug and their OPS is number 11. I mean, that's pretty close to 10. I mean, you got home runs. They're number 6, and and runs. They're number 10. I mean, their numbers offensively are better than I thought they would be, and that's with this kind of sort of power outage from guys like Polanco that you were mentioning there. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I feel like he's going to come back a little bit. I don't expect him to be what he was, but if these numbers can just be, if you carry on this season with these kinds of numbers offensively, paired with the kind of pitching we think that's coming based on what happened last year, and it's the same guys. I don't know. I'm pretty encouraged about that if this is the slump. Now, if this trough continues, then I'll be really worried about where this offense goes.
Hey, a reminder, the Mariners begin a 9-game homestand starting tonight against the Nationals. First 10,000 fans on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday will receive a Randy Arozarena bobblehead. So don't miss the first fireworks night of the season with a special K-pop fireworks show on Friday night. For more info, you can go to mariners.com/tickets. Coming up, Mariners got 2 pieces of good news at the start of this past weekend. We'll get into what that's about next with Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
Brock and Salk.
With our friend Jeff Passan.
I think that what we're seeing now is a version of how good the Mariners can be. The really exciting part is that George Kirby's coming back, and that Logan Gilbert's coming back, and that Bryce Miller's going to come back, and that all of a sudden, this team that looks like arguably the second best team in the American League is going to be adding 2 Cy Young caliber pitchers.
Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10 on Seattle Sports.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to Bundle Deal Days at AutoZone.
Well, I do need a bundle of things.
When you bundle, you save.
Do I save if I bundle oil with an oil filter?
Save up to $12 on that bundle.
What about brake pads and rotors?
Bundle those and the brake pads are free.
Can't save more than free.
You can save on hundreds of deals during Bundle Deal Days. Ends June 2nd at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply. Duralast brake pads only.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends over at Xfinity. You know, change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, we know that change is all around us. Songs are rewritten and remade. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists, well, they come and go. Even our taste in music, as we get older, can change a bit. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same. and that is the price of your internet. That's right. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Are you surprised? Well, life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Now, restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August of 2024. Go check it all out right online at Xfinity.com/deals.
This is Chris Davis with the Davis Law Group. Did you know that a pedestrian does not have to be crossing the street on a marked crosswalk to have a successful legal claim against the driver? Pedestrians can even be partially at fault for a collision and still have a valuable claim. Call us today for a free consultation or get my free book on pedestrian accident law at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com. That's Davis Law Group, better service and even better results.
The home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Cal swinging a drive, deep to right field.
Every pitch of every Mariners game is on the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, it's Dr. Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. Spring is here, and I know you want to look and feel your best as you head into this new season. Are you tired of the roller coaster of losing weight just to see it all come back again? Maybe you've heard about the new drugs but are concerned with the possible side effects, or you're taking weight loss drugs but also want to learn how to change your lifestyle for long-lasting results. We can help you. We have a team of health coaches that can support you every step of the way. Schedule your free 15-minute, no-pressure phone consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here with Rowland-Smith.
Thanks, Mike. I've been hearing for about 2 years now how you did the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic plan, and you lost a ton of weight. So I decided to see what the program was all about, and I'm so glad I did. So far, I've lost 30 pounds, and my only regret is not starting sooner.
Join the thousands of people who've lost 20 to 30 pounds or more in just 60 days. It doesn't matter where you live. You can do our program in person in Kirkland or all remotely. Schedule your free phone consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. That's eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Emerald Queen Casino Event Center presents the main event. Powered by WFC, Saturday night, June 14th. A night of professional boxing where champions are made and every punch counts. Contenders from the region go toe-to-toe, ready to prove they belong at the top. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. Don't miss Fight Night, June 14th at Emerald Queen Casino, the boxing capital of the Northwest. 21 and older, need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
Hey folks, John Curley here. One of the best home comfort inventions of recent time, mini split systems. Now you can enjoy efficient heating and cooling while saving energy and reducing utility bills with personalized room comfort. Call my friends at Home Comfort Alliance for a free consultation, and for a limited time, get 18 months same as cash financing on all qualified systems. For all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs, call the comfort people. Home Comfort Alliance. Visit homecomfortalliance.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Wyman and Bob.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, the Mariners get back to it tonight. Washington Nationals in town. Logan Evans on the hill. You can catch it all starting at 5:30 with the pregame show. 6:40 first pitch right here, Seattle Sports on 710. Meanwhile, looks like they might be back to full strength as far as the rotation goes pretty soon. Logan Gilbert speaking on Friday, talking here about the progress he's felt after throwing the sim game.
Yeah, I feel good. I mean, I was letting it rip, and whatever happened, and I felt good, so that's great. The splitter's the one that I just threw a couple of them at first just to, like, test it out, just make sure. And then the last one I threw normal was, the same splitter I always throw. And it's funny because up until this point, I haven't really felt anything on that pitch specifically. I just had tightness a month ago or whatever. But because some people say it can add more stress, I'm just trying to be as careful as I can.
So that's great news.
Yeah, he's like, well, some people say, I guess, the doctors and your trainers, and
it's my job to prove all those people wrong.
That's right. I felt very encouraged by that. He obviously, you see him on the road trip, particularly in Chicago. He's in a good mood.
He's in charge of the Trident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a couple of them where he put it up there and nobody cheered, I guess. So then he kind of the next time put it up like part of the way.
He's kind of sheepishly putting it up there.
Yeah, but he's having fun with it, and it's not like he's all bummed out or anything. So I feel like that's one thing. His personality would probably be not like that if he was really bummed out about it. But it was kind of interesting. He said when he threw the splitter that he would just get some tightness, and I don't know. It just sounded to me like it's like, if you ask me, it's fine. But if you ask the trainers and the doctors, they're like, you need to back away, and he's backing away. So
yeah,
he's always been very good on the side of taking care of his arm, and we know all about that and how conscientious he is about it. So
he hasn't. That's the thing, is despite what he went through as a young guy that he's told us about before he went to the armory and all that, he's as durable as anybody. He was one of 2 pitchers that threw 200+ innings last year. I mean, the guy's a machine, so he hasn't really had to deal with this. But he was asked about what the next step is as far as his recovery goes.
I think it's just pitch count from here. My intensity's there. I took 2 breaks today from the warm-up to the inning to the other inning. All my pitches feel fine. I got to all my pitches, so it's just building it back up.
Yeah, just building back up the number of pitches, but see what he can take. But I don't know. He just seems like a very good patient. I think most guys, but it's worked for him. I mean, if you know what his story is all about, and you mentioned him going to the armory, that was all because he just couldn't stay healthy, and so he's all about that. And so it's not like, I think he's just kind of saying, okay, I'm going to put it in your hands. I'm going to be careful here, but it's the right thing to do, because, if this just got worse and worse and worse, he said it wasn't that big of a deal, but it could be now if they'd continued pitching him. So just very, very wise, and I'm really excited to see him get back to the Logan Gilbert that he was last year.
Yeah, I think we all are. And I'm excited to see Bryce Miller hopefully resemble the guy that we saw last year, because it's a guy with a sub-3 ERA last year, and it wasn't just a handful of starts. That was 31 starts. He had a phenomenal season, so there was a ton of reason to be excited about what kind of step is he going to take from that, and it just kind of went the wrong way right out of the gates. But he's been out. I think he got the cortisone shot, I think is what they gave him, and this is from Friday, saying he thinks he could return during this 9-game homestand.
Hopefully it's a normal week and I get into a game, but we got to see how I recover, and assuming like tomorrow and the next day are good, then it should be a normal week, and get a midweek bullpen, and then hopefully into the game. I don't know for sure what day, but hopefully into next week it'll be in there.
Yeah, you ever had a cortisone shot like for your hand or wrist or anything? It works great. So he's probably got to be a little bit careful, because I had one time. You ever have trigger finger?
No.
Where it just involuntarily, if you like kind of curl your finger, it'll just all of a sudden clench down, and you have to like pry it apart.
No, I've never had the trigger finger.
Yeah, and I went in and got a cortisone shot, and I was like, oh man, that feels great. Same thing on my wrist a couple years ago.
Trigger wrist?
Not trigger wrist, but just like had like some inflammation in there, and it was just grinding and everything.
It'd be weird if all of a sudden your wrist just went. Trigger finger. Yeah, I don't know that I've heard of that.
Yeah.
What causes that?
I don't know what causes it. I just had it.
Is that mallet finger's ugly cousin?
Yeah, there you go. No, it's a really creepy feeling. Like you don't really have to get it done.
So you're starting, if you just try to, like you're grabbing a ball or something, all of a sudden one will just
clench all the way in.
And you can't, you have to manually pull it back.
Yeah, you can't lift it back up. You have to pull it with your other hand. 866-979-3776. Text in if you've ever had trigger finger.
All of you that have suffered from trigger finger.
Yeah. But when he talked about the cortisone shot, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's awesome. You got to be careful with that, because, it can mask a lot of things, because it just instantly relieves the pain in that area. But it sounds like, for pitchers, there's a lot of times where little things like that flare up, and you can understand why. Because you look at a frozen snapshot of those guys, and they're just contorting themselves into ridiculous positions. So.
Lots of stress being put on that elbow and the shoulder every single pitch. Yeah, seeing still shots, snapshots of them in motion is just not a good thing. You're just like, how does that not snap every tendon in the elbow, every pitch? It's amazing.
We had a pitcher here that I think we pointed that out. This is like 10 years ago. But anyway, he was like, yeah, I saw a picture of myself. That's really creepy. I don't ever want to see that again.
Yeah, that'd be weird because wouldn't you have that in the back of your mind? Like,
yeah,
oh, my elbow was all distorted. It looked like it was popping out. And yeah, it's ugly looking when they show right is that arm's just about to start coming forward right from that point. It's just everything looks out of place, to say the least.
Okay, so we have somebody that went to Wikipedia and looked up trigger finger. And then we got somebody who said, my mom had trigger finger. It's real.
I wasn't saying it's not real. I've never had it, and I don't really know what causes that. So,
well, I know it's real, but it's just that, nobody can relate. One of Shannon's friends just went in for that because she had trigger finger. I don't know if it's like just doing repetitive motion or whatever, but all I know is I went and got a shot in my hand, and it felt great.
This 360 said, I'm just a normal person who got trigger finger from just hitting the gym every day. Too many bicep workouts.
Ooh, working on your biceps, huh? Don't skip legs.
Yeah. You don't want trigger leg either. Then you got problems. All right, coming up, what did he learn about this Mariners team after this road trip? We'll check in and get the thoughts of Rowland-Smith. He's going to join us next. It's Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
Things have tightened up in the race for the top of the AL West.
Julio, an RBI double, and this game is tied.
Tonight, the first-place Mariners return home to T-Mobile, kicking off a 9-game homestand in the first of 3 against the Nationals. Wyman and Bob take you up to pregame at 5:30, first pitch at 6:40, on the home of the Mariners and the race for the AL West. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
My wife and I have been married for over 15 years, and I've never had any complaints about my performance in the bedroom. But after I turned 40, things started feeling different. I was gaining weight, losing muscle, and I just wasn't interested in sex anymore. My wife told me her friend's husband went through the same thing, and it turns out he had low testosterone. So we booked a free T-check at Revive Health, and that's when I learned that my testosterone levels were low too. We worked with a provider to create a custom treatment plan, and today, my wife and I are having more fun than we did on our honeymoon. My only regret is not reaching out sooner.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com or call 206-529-1111. Again, that's 206-529-1111.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and, of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your card today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rureka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Hey friends, it's Stacy with a little bit of inside info. I know there are a lot of local business owners listening right now. This message is for you. Wayscar Ford is running great pricing on all of their commercial vehicles. Trucks, Super Duties, Isuzu FTRs, box trucks. The bigger, the better, and they have a ton of them. New and used models and a ton of 2025 models. I'm on their website right now. Here's one, $11,000 off. Another for $19,000 off. Wayscar Ford just expanded their heavy truck shop, and there are a ton of opportunities. They're looking for mechanics if anyone listening has heavy truck experience. Join a wonderful company at a dealership that's been in Auburn for 103 years. Take advantage of the amazing inventory and deals they have right now. Commercial sales and service for both Ford and Isuzu. A great option for people, a great option for families, and now business owners. I'm a proud customer. I know you will be too. Wayscar Ford, Isuzu in Auburn. WayscarFord.com. That's WayscarFord.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Mariners get back to it tonight after a day off. They have a 9-game homestand that begins tonight with the Washington Nationals in town. They'll send Logan Evans to the hill. You can catch it all right here starting at 5:30 with the pregame show. 6:40 first pitch. Seattle Sports on 710. Some other games getting set to get underway. Dodgers and Guardians in Cleveland. You got the Orioles playing host to the Cardinals. The Giants on the road in Detroit. Braves taking on the Phillies in Philadelphia. It's the Twins on the road to take on the Rays. The Mets hosting the White Sox, Brewers and Red Sox. And you've got the Cubs and Rockies in Chicago. Meanwhile, some news out of the NFL. Kirk Cousins is not at OTAs. He's been absent. He also made it clear to the Falcons he'd like to be a starter in the league this season, but obviously that's unlikely with Michael Penix Jr. there. Earlier this year, he asked for and was granted a meeting with their owner, Arthur Blank, to plead his case to be released. However, the Falcons have not budged on their message from the end of last season that they're comfortable with Cousins as Penix's backup because they'd be paying him his guaranteed $27.5 million in 2025, even if he were released.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
I actually talked about it on You Betcha on the podcast.
He is an unrivaled source of baseball knowledge.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
A guy who always has your back.
Pants back on, try and make the uniform look sweet in a split second. Come out, and I'm trying to open the door. I'm like, what the? And I said, listen, buddy, put your babysitting shoes on because Dad's going out for Father's Day. You got to watch Top Gun.
Ryan Rowland-Smith, every week with Wyman and Bob.
That's the open right there.
Lefko, we got to get that cut of him saying talking to you two is like talking to a brick wall. We got to get that in the open.
Add that, please.
He's got it.
Wow, now we're making demands for the
brick
open,
wall right behind him. Turn around and talk to that, pal.
Yeah. He's with us each and every week on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. You know him, you love him. Doing a great job, crushing it in the booth this year with Aaron Goldsmith, and on the radio side, our buddy Ryan Rowland-Smith is here. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. I think I've told you guys this before. You understand that back in Australia, when I sent that open off to my friends and family, they're like, "Oh, that's cool," as if to say I created it for myself. I said, "No, someone else created that for me." But now, hey, Lefko, listen, dude, you gotta you got to update it. Let's go. There's
Yeah,
some good lines
that's
in there.
more work than I want to give you credit for. I mean,
Come
maybe
on.
with some of our preferred guests, sure. But,
Oh,
I don't know.
whoa,
Guests that take the time to play me in pickleball.
Yikes.
It's I don't
Well,
know.
hang on. There's some good updated lines about me burning you during about pickleball, dude. Like, let's go at it.
Wow.
We'll see. All right.
Lefko,
We'll
he's
tinker
all-
around in the lab.
He's all fired up from spring training because he beat Bob and I in ping pong.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, he's all
I did, by
fired
the
up.
way,
Now he thinks he
I
can
don't know
beat
if
me
we've-
in one-on-one basketball.
Hey, listen. I don't know
well,
if
yeah.
I don't know if I've told you this, John. I did send you guys in a group chat the video of me smashing that ball back to my 6-year-old son, saying prepping for Mike Lefko in pickleball.
Oh, that was so funny. Your son looked like, Dad, why are you making me do this?
Yeah, exactly. Brutal.
We were wondering how many takes it took to get that one. Like, were you just firing missiles at him and going, no, all right, let's try it again?
It took two takes. That was it.
All right. Well, Ryan, how should we feel coming out of this road trip? Because I was going into this 10-game road trip saying, look, it's 10 games. You want to go 5-5. That's your goal. You want to at least split the road trip. Obviously, you want to win as many as possible, but you can live with 5-5. They go 6-4. So I should be going, hey, man, great road trip. But something about the way it ended with the Astros just made me feel differently. The offense went flat. You had some sloppy ball out there as far as errors going on, and just it's the Astros. I hate that team so much, Ryan. I hate them so much. And
I get it.
Altuve couldn't hit a lick the entire month of May and just goes on a tear in this series. It was just, I don't know. 6-4 didn't feel as good as I thought it would. I think because of the way it ended. How do you feel coming out of it?
Yeah, I agree. I really agree with you. A couple of things to take away from that road trip. First of all, the good. You go off a homestand where you're really starting to second guess, is this offense for real? Are they coming back down to earth? And then you go and sweep the Padres. And by the way, they haven't been able to win a game since. Like we all of a sudden sent them off in a tailspin.
They broke them
to the Dodgers. Yeah, it was crazy. So that was huge, man. To kick off that first 3 games the way they did it. But I'm with you. Towards the end there, against the Astros, they just didn't have. There was never really that feeling of. You had that feeling like you did if you remember go back to 2021, 2022 days where every time you went into, used to be called Minute Maid, now it's the Ice Box, Dyken Field or whatever they're trying to call it. But every time you went in there, you're like, oh man, if we got a 1 or 2 run lead, it's just we're not going to hold it. And so you had that kind of vibe to it. And then you mentioned Altuve too, just coughing up 2-1, 3-1 counts to him. Fastball's middle of the plate. You throw something, anything away from the middle, he's going to swing and miss. And so that was a little frustrating. There's a lot of frustrating moments for that. However, the biggest takeaway, and this is the one that's when you're talking long term and how you feel about this team and coming back home and everything else, the biggest takeaway is that rotation, man. It is finally starting to feel like that's the backbone of this team. You go from barely scraping 5 innings per start and taking 19, 20 pitches per inning at some point to all of a sudden you've got guys like Logan Evans, even Emerson Hancock too. All of a sudden now you're pushing up to the 5.4 innings per start. You're down around 15 pitches per inning. And some of these numbers, I know it sounds boring, but if you want to preserve a bullpen, preserve Andres Munoz. You got a Matt Brash who's slowly coming back from the IL. Gabe Spire, who you're leaning on pretty heavily. When you can get your starting pitching deeper into those games, well, all of a sudden everything changes. And then all of a sudden your offense doesn't have to be night in, night out, killing it, every at-bat or coming up with that big hit constantly, because it's not going to happen. Again, Padres, I mean, they can't hit all of a sudden. And now, the Angels, now all of a sudden they're crushing the ball. Offense comes and goes, but the pitching, it's starting to stabilize, which is great. And then all of a sudden you get Kirby back. I know he didn't look great, but he's going to be fine. Apparently Bryce Miller's coming back. I hope they're not bringing him back too soon. Hopefully he's had a big enough, gulp of air to come back. And then, Logan Gilbert as well. So, again, the biggest takeaway, a long-winded answer, starting pitching, it's starting to look back to what we're used to seeing.
Well, Ryan, you just said it. Offense comes and goes. Pitching is, now I know you're saying that probably because you're a pitcher, but, that's like the backbone of the team. No, but are you concerned about the offensive numbers? I mean, there are certain guys, especially, I think Polanco probably the one that's most drastic, but it does come and go, as you said. I mean, any cause for concern? I mean, on the road trip, you got a lot out of your two superstars, out of Julio and Cal.
Julio,
yeah. But what do you think?
Yeah, a couple of things I was diving into. I was listening to the radio, to Brock and Salk this morning, and I was talking to Jeff Passan about some numbers later in the game. Third at bat, fourth at bat. If you go back, the last 10 games, I'll use this road trip for example. There were some good moments. You had a situation, Leo de Tavares bailing them out in the 8th inning in that. They nearly went 1-2 against the White Sox. And you're like, oh man, I'm telling you, flying into Houston would have been much tougher. But he bailed them out, hit that 2-run bomb to take the lead, which was huge. So if you look at some of the numbers, third and fourth at bat, I'm getting somewhere with this too, and why it's important. But you look at the situation, on base percentage. When you're deeper in the game, those last ABs, where you feel like you're still in it, right? Remember going back the last couple years, if they didn't have four runs, or they were down by a run or two, it's like, man, okay, it's just not going to happen. Right. But you went from a situation, the first 42 games of this season, going into that road trip, you had non-base 322. And so you had base runners. The swing and miss, it's about the same as what it is now. Now all of a sudden you're on bases around 200 even in this last road trip. And so the last 10 games, I'm thinking about a situation where you get those big moments, and you're looking around for that big hit. And I'll get to Polanco in a second, some other members too. And there's nothing but soft contact. They're not swinging and missing as much as they were last year, or that's not the issue. It's just a ground ball rate is through the roof. They're just hitting ground balls. They're jumping on pitches out of the strike zone, putting contact, but just not doing the damage. And then Polanco, man, I'm not saying he carried the offense in the first month of the season, but it's been a complete 180 for him. You're talking about hitting the ball in the ground. He's hitting the ball in the ground around 68, 70%. It's insane. So something there, maybe it's mechanical or something in regards to when he's making contact or the swing path, but he's got to get the ball in the air. And it doesn't mean he has to launch, like I'm talking, try and, launch home runs. Just get back to that Polanco that we're used to seeing when he is at his best a couple of years ago, just line drives, finding outfield grass. For some reason, whether it's posture, whether it's attack angle, not to get down a rabbit hole here, but something's going on with the same pitches that he was hitting in the air and hit with authority. Now, all of a sudden, he's hitting the ball on the ground. And then what that turns into is chase, too. So I am concerned about Polanco. I feel like once he starts getting the ball in the air, I think the chase will cut down because he's not pressing so much. But outside of Cal and Julio, there's a couple guys that just they're just not getting on base as much as they used to be. And there's just not that big hit, third and fourth at bat in the game.
Yeah, and it's the guys that carried the offense outside of Cal in the opening month. I mean, Polanco is the biggest example, as you point out. I mean, he hit 379 in the month of April with a 422 on base. His OPS was 1284. And now you look at him in the month of May, hitting a $155 with a 234. I mean, just a complete night and day switch. The other guy's J.P. Crawford, who got off to such a great start. You look at him, he's 7 for 33 on that road trip. He's hitting 229, 326 on base, 664 OPS for the month of May. Dylan Moore was another guy who was really hot. He goes 5 for 30 in that 10-game road trip. He's hitting 216 with a 281 on base, 634 OPS for the month of May. And then Rivas, I don't really understand how Rivas is being used. He's not a guy he was getting on base at a ridiculous clip. Remember, he had a 500 on base. 500, yeah. Yeah, he went 1 for 13 in this 10-game road trip. He's hitting a $179 with a 281 on base for the month of May. And I don't hold him to the same standard because, again, he's not playing every day. But what do you make of it's just kind of collectively all the guys that were sort of carrying this offense have all cooled, and some have cooled extremely.
Well, a couple of things on Rivas that stand out to me. Remember when he was going through, you talk about the on base and talk about some of the production. First of all, he was playing more regularly too, right? So it was a situation where if look, not saying you ever get comfortable, but you kind of have that feeling like, you know what, because Ryan Bliss is out. If you remember going back to the beginning of the year, they were trying to mix and match and figure out who was going to play third base. Rivas was option number one, essentially, especially at second base. So he's kind of walking in every day going, you know what, I don't feel like I have to press. That's number one. Number two, remember, and I'm not talking about, we talk about protection in the middle of the lineup. When you have JP in the 9 hole, right, and he's an on base like just machine, which he is. And by the way, you mentioned the on base is still 360, even when he's scuffling at the plate to hit. When you have that, well, then Rivas is going to get pitched to a little bit more. The other part of this is too, when you get rid of some of that depth 7, 8, 9. Then all of a sudden, get pitched to a little bit more. You get a little bit more exposed because the scouting report builds on you as well. And then the guy who was hitting in front of him, Ben Williamson, he hasn't been the same either. So you kind of lose a little bit of that support around you too. So again, I'm not making excuses for Rivas. I still think he's a really, dynamic player. I just feel like with him, he's kind of all of a sudden, because he doesn't have the pieces around him, where he's going to get pitched to a little bit differently, that's for sure. And again, I just think that when you lose Polanco up the top, and you have J.P. Crawford leading off, Julio's slid down to third, which, by the way, I love, man. If you look at some of the splits, him leading off to compared to hitting second and then compared to hitting third, man, he's so comfortable there. I love it. But it's when you have to shuffle the lineup around and you lose a bit of depth down the bottom, because that's where JP was. Remember, he was hitting ninth. Mm-hmm. Ben Williamson's not doing the same thing. It affects everyone else. And I think there's a little bit of that rolling into it as well.
Hey, Ryan, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but just wanted to get your input on, once they get everybody healthy, what do they do with Logan Evans? Do they have a six-man rotation? And some of the, differences between that. I mean, is that like a super convenience? I mean, to have six guys, it stretches it out a little bit, save guys' arms. Or do you get like into a groove where it's like, it might screw somebody up?
Yeah, man, it's a tough one, because I guarantee you, Luis Castillo, especially now, he's all of a sudden, found his groove. Velocity's back consistently. And if you say to him, hey, listen, because there is I just looked at the schedule. You basically, if you go six-man rotation, there is 6 days, because you always have an off day. So there's a couple stretches there where you won't, but there's only 2 or 3, maybe 3. That's a long time in between outings. And not to mention, too, guys are so used to saying, hey, look, I need to get to that 30 outing mark, or I need to get to that 25 outing mark, whatever it is, selfishly. Now, a couple things on that. Number one, it's a touchy one, because the Mariners are in such a unique position. Bryce Miller, I think, I mentioned this in the beginning, right? I watched him pitch, do his throw to hitters, even though they weren't swinging. He was letting it eat the other day. Like, it wasn't like this, hey, this is my first time back on the mound against hitters. No. He was like letting it. He's ready to go. But I'm sitting there going, man, like, with Bryce, take your time a little bit. You've got some options here where Bryce can, go pitch in AAA with umpires and guys who are hitting, guys who want to take your head off. Like, go compete a little bit before you get thrown right back into this rotation. Because as much as I want Bryce Miller back, I want him back where he's not questioning anything he does. And so I'm looking at this thinking, man, like, if Bryce comes right back, Logan Gilbert comes right back, there is going to be an odd man out, obviously. But it's not a bad thing. You need to have that. I just think in regards to the six-man rotation, I would maybe steer clear of it until you get into when it starts heating up a little bit. Maybe there's a stretch there where you add a six-man as you get into late July, like after the All-Star break, into August potentially, or even through the month of September, depending on where you're at. I just don't want a situation where you're losing out on that extra start per week from a good Brian Wu, good Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert when he's back, just to have a six-man rotation. Because, man, there's plenty of off days in there, and I'm telling you, the Mariners are better than anyone when it comes to managing some of these the workload for some of these pitchers. So, I don't know. I'm not big on the six-man rotation, to be honest with you.
Well, before we let you go, as far as Logan Evans goes, I can't remember who we played a clip from, but they were talking about using him in long relief potentially to keep him up. That apparently he's done some of that before. I don't really know his complete history, but would that be something you would consider, or is it more beneficial, do you think, just to let him go down AAA and start on a regular rotation and just be stretched out if they need him?
Go down to AAA. Unless you're a situation where you go the Astros used to have this guy, Davinsky, who would come in, rubber arm every day. He could bridge a gap if you're still in it after a starter goes 4 and go 5-6 into the back end of your bullpen. No. Logan Evans, development wise, send him to AAA. Keep him because there is. I hate to say it, knock on wood, but there is a very high chance of another injury later on this season. You don't want a situation. You don't need him to go long relief, man. That's just. And by the way, if he does, guess what? He's got to sit for 2-3 days. It really doesn't serve that much of a purpose, to be honest with you, when you can cycle through a man who kind of. I'm not going to call it a mop-up, but can fill that void when the team... If a starter goes out after 3-4 innings, when you're talking July, August, September, chances are the game's out of reach anyway. Don't burn that on Logan Evans. Send him to AAA and make sure he's ready to roll because he will play. I think he will play a role later on this season.
He is Ryan Rowland-Smith with us each and every week talking Mariner baseball. What do
you think he's ever had trigger finger?
I'm going to say no.
You ever had trigger finger? They say lots of, you know what causes it? Lots of birthdays.
What are we talking about? I am so lost. Is this a dad joke?
I just brought up the fact that I had a finger twice now where when you start to curl it, it'll just clamp shut and you have to pull it open. So,
man,
I got 30 texts from people going, "Oh yeah, my dad had trigger finger. My mom has trigger finger."
I've had people not understand me when I've been on air, but I've never had that trigger finger. I've never had that. I don't know.
I just like your genuine confusion there going, is that a dad joke? I don't know what you're saying.
Oh, man. I was pumping out some good dad jokes over the last couple of days, let me tell you. I stack them up. When I get home from the road, I just smash out a few dad jokes.
Just unleash them on the family.
I'm the king of dad jokes, for sure.
Ryan, wait a minute. Hold on.
What do you got?
I'm the title holder. You gotta beat me first. Yeah. You said you're the king.
I was trying to tell. I'll be quick because I know you guys are going to go to some important sponsors or whatever.
Yeah.
But Dave, you weren't here. I was talking to Bob. I told him the story about that blunt pencil a couple of weeks ago. You know what? It's got no point. All right, guys. I'll see you next week.
Wow. That's a mic drop right there.
Pretty good.
Look at that.
That is a mic drop.
We appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Ryan.
No worries.
There you go. There's Ryan Rowland-Smith doing such a great job up in the booth this year. It's fun to listen to him. And how about that? How about the mic drop there? The blunt pencil. Forget it. It's got no point. That's good. That's good.
Oh, that's good stuff. Yeah. And the thing you get rewarded is does Ryan have, his kids are probably 10, 12?
I think they're a little younger than that.
Are they?
Didn't he just say his son was like 6 or 7, the one he was firing missiles at with the pickleball?
Yeah, now terrified and probably traumatized to do any organized sports ever again.
All because he's trying to intimidate Lefko.
Yeah, he said, I'm warming up for Lefko.
Yeah.
Boom, he's just firing missiles at his kid. his son just looked like, why are we doing this? What are we doing?
Well, I think, anyway, for him, the reward on telling the dad jokes is when you have teenagers. Just to embarrass them.
So they groan and go, oh,
yeah.
Dad.
And then you do things like when you drop them off, have a nice day, honey. You're in your pajamas or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's why you love that commercial, right? The dad trying to be hip.
Oh, yeah.
Chat. How we feeling?
Chat. Sus. That's sus. What was the other thing he says? He
vibe.
said something like...
something about a vibe.
Yeah.
Right?
I can't remember. Anyway, it's brilliant. I love doing that to my kids, and I'm sure he's going to love it too.
I just love that he looked genuinely confused when you were saying that. He's going, wait, is this a dad joke? I don't get it.
Set me up here.
Trigger finger? What are you talking about?
My God, Bob, I'm telling you, did you look through the text?
I saw somebody send in a picture of their hand. You see that?
I counted 16 texts, and that was like 10, 20 minutes ago. Yeah. So, yeah, people really fired up about the trigger finger.
Yeah, this person, 509, said the doctor called it trigger finger and told me it was common for older guys.
Well, I mean, never mind.
And then they said, I've had that thing that Dave described, but I thought it was just a cramp. Never went to a doctor about it.
It really doesn't hurt or anything. It's just creepy. It's
so if you didn't manually pull it back, it'd just be stuck in that position.
Well, I don't know. I mean, probably. But your first instinct is always to grab it and straighten it out. It's like somebody else is controlling your body.
Huh.
So
that's interesting.
That's the trigger finger. And it was a big hit with the texters.
Yeah, they love it. They love getting in on something that's not sports related, whether it's food, trigger finger, health, whatever. They're going to weigh in on it. 866-979-3776 is the text line where you guys can weigh in on whatever you'd like, whenever you'd like. And if you missed any part of Ryan Rowland-Smith, you just tuned in, you didn't catch it all, you can find that on the podcast page after the show at seattlesports.com. A reminder, the Mariners begin a 9-game homestand starting tonight against the Washington Nationals. First 10,000 fans tonight, tomorrow night, and Thursday will receive a Randy Arozarena bobblehead. So don't miss the first fireworks night of the season with a special K-pop fireworks show that Brady Bones is very excited about. That's on Friday night. For more info, go to mariners.com/tickets. All right. The perception around the league seems to be that the Seahawks are going to be worse this season. Some saying just flat out not very good at all. So are we wrong or are they wrong? I'm pointing towards them, but we'll hash it out. Coming up with Wyman and Bob at Seattle Sports on 710.
Things have tightened up in the race for the top of the AL West.
Julio, an RBI double, and this game is tied.
Tonight, the first-place Mariners return home to T-Mobile, kicking off a 9-game homestand in the first of 3 against the Nationals. Wyman and Bob take you up to pregame at 5:30, first pitch at 6:40, on the home of the Mariners and the race for the AL West. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends over at Xfinity. You know, change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, we know that change is all around us. Songs are rewritten and remade. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists, well, they come and go. Even our taste in music, as we get older, can change a bit. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same. And that is the price of your internet. That's right. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Are you surprised? Well, life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Now, restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August of 2024. Go check it all out right online at Xfinity.com/deals.
Riverside Roofing is offering $1,000 off a new roof replacement. Book a free estimate online, and when you meet with Brandon, that's Don's son, tell him you heard the message on the radio station. Go to RiversideRoofingLLC.com. It's Riverside Roofing, the roofing company you can trust.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
Barbecue season is back. Hey, it's Ellen.
And this is Sarah Beth.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that zesty barbecue sauce. I love that it was a little sweet, a little tangy, and with the mac and cheese,
I feel like I tasted the brown sugar bacon first. It was the absolute best combination. Pro tip, 3 sandwiches are always better than 1.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and a Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowe's.com/lowest price guarantee.
Hey, 12, Stu Vrabel here, voice of your Seattle Seahawks. The wait is over, and tickets are on sale now for our historic 50th season. This season is going to be legendary, with past, present, and future colliding at Lumen Field. Get your tickets today at Seahawks.com/tickets.
The home of the Mariners.
Left off to center. It is on its way. Julio, 2-run home run.
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Eric Johnson here. I covered a lot of accidents over the past 30 years or so, but I never got to say much about what to do after a crash. Be honest, do you know what evidence to collect, what pictures to take, what documents to request, or what you shouldn't say to your insurance company? The Washington Accident Book Series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the roads throw at them. Know your rights and how to avoid common mistakes after an accident by getting your free copy at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
Attention passengers, we've reached 10,000 feet and internet is now available for purchase.
I just paid hundreds for this flight, and you can't even throw in internet? I'll just take the free pretzels.
Sorry, but I do have snack boxes for sale.
I'm just gonna sleep.
In that case, we are selling pillows and blankets as well.
I'll just breathe. That's free, right?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. It's Mike Salk here, and you can book now for an unforgettable summer experience opening this August. Wake up to breathtaking cascade views with world-class dining and play your favorite games. Visit snocasino.com. Seattle's closest. It's now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Stacy here. Sell your car to Wayscar Ford, and when they resell it, they share half their profit with you. That's right. Sell your car to Wayscar Ford, Isuzu, and Auburn. They'll pay you today for your car, and once they resell it, they'll share half their profit with you. WayscarFord.com.
Wyman and Bob.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Seahawks have OTAs happening this week, right?
Yep.
OTAs going on out there at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center. Not sure if we might be out there one day. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we're going to see if maybe our guy NASA can get us out there. Check it out. It'll be interesting to see, how, number one, I think the coaching part of it, but then just some of the young guys. I'm really excited to see this draft class.
Are we drinking the Kool-Aid with this team?
Apparently.
What the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
We were talking about the Vegas line at one point, over/under total wins for the Seahawks, 7.5. I think you said it got moved. Somebody told you it was 8.5 now.
Yes.
But 7.5, 8.5, I'm taking the over on that every day, and it doesn't feel like much of a thought yet. You got a lot of people that, national voices looking at this team that aren't nearly as optimistic. Sheil Kapadia, who used to cover the team, now works for the Ringer NFL podcast. He talked about why he gave the Seahawks a C for his offseason grade.
I'll be honest. I looked at this roster and I was like, if they had Geno Smith and DK Metcalf, I wonder what my prediction would be for this team, Mike McDonald, in year 2. Maybe with an offensive coordinator who I felt like had a stronger track record than Clint Kubiak. But the reason I didn't go lower is because I don't like the plan, but I do understand what they were potentially trying to do here. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with their assessments or their evaluations. And I don't think the downside is that low, because I think if they have a bad season, it's like they're going to, be back to the drawing board at quarterback, but they're really only locked into Darnold for one season when you look at kind of the guarantees there. So it comes down to, I don't buy that Darnold is going to be the same guy he was in Minnesota. And I don't buy that Clint Kubiak is like some kind of offensive savant who can coach around O-line deficiencies. And it's going to look totally different this year.
I wonder what he's referring to when he says, their plan, and I don't agree with it. I don't like it. What
is talking about offense, probably, what they're doing and what they're going to do with Sam Darnold. I mean, look, we all know this. I think Geno Smith was one of those quarterbacks that was, I think, locally we kind of shredded him apart a little bit about, some of the red zone interceptions. Mm-hmm. But nationally, I think, people who didn't watch a lot of Seahawk football and didn't go through, all of those things. They're looking at his completion percentage, and that's an acceptable number of interceptions. Not sure where they were thrown. And what was there, like 4 of them that were in the red zone, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, I think it has to be that. It has to be the quarterback position. Or, if you're somewhere else in the country, you're going, because I think it's an upgrade as far as, the offensive coaching staff. Just because I know, not only do I know some of the people they hired, but, kind of know of them. Like we know about Kubiak and the whole, offense that he brings with him. So, I mean, those two things have to be the reason why that it's at 8.5.
Yeah, and that makes sense. You and I talked about this before. Like, if you could have Geno Smith or Sam Darnold, who would you take? And I didn't think Geno was the greatest quarterback in the world, but I take Geno because I know what his resume is. I've seen him year after year. I know what he does well. I know what he doesn't do well. I know what with Sam, he had 6 years of one story. Yeah. Last year, completely different, where you're going, where did this come from? And then, as we talked about, the last 2 games, unfortunately the most consequential games of the season for him, look like the guy from the first 6 years. So I think questioning him is totally fair. He's got something to prove. And then we talked about the receiving core. Is it better right now with Cooper Kupp, JSN, and MVS? Or was it better with JSN, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett?
Yeah.
I think it's better with DK Metcalf, JSN, and Tyler Lockett, personally.
Well, and again, that's something that we knew that. We've seen them. Same thing with Geno in the quarterback position. We really don't know with Sam Darnold. I mean,
he might be better. Yeah. He might improve on last year. He might be a stud. I don't certainly allow for it. I'm not predicting he's going to be terrible, but I understand the questioning of him. I think that's fair.
Well, and I think that's where that comes from. And, so when you ask the question, are we drinking the Kool-Aid? Maybe a little bit, but I don't know. I just, based on what we saw, I always think positively, and just think, okay, this will work out and that will work out. I'm much more optimistic than I am pessimistic. And so maybe that's part of it. But the offensive coaches and the new system, no doubt, but especially the quarterback. Yeah. That's where I think the biggest question marks are.
Well, and to me, I'm looking at it going, all right, if Darnold isn't as good as Geno was, and this receiving core isn't as good as what you had last year, I'm betting on the fact that the defense is going to be even better than it was last year. In the second half of last year, they were one of the best in the league. And I think they're going to be that from the beginning of the year. So I think the defense is going to be even better than it was last year. I don't think it's possible for the O-line to take a step back. I think they are going to be better than they were last year.
Yeah.
Is it going to be marginal? Is it going to be significantly better? I don't know. But I'm counting on an improved O-line or O-line play. I'm not sure who the 5 guys are going to be. I just feel like they know it's an issue. There's a sense of urgency around it. We're going to get it fixed. They spend their first-round pick on a guard. They understand what needs to happen there. So I think the O-line's going to be better. I think the defense will be decidedly better. So, all right, if those other 2 spots, now quarterback's the most important, I get it. But I feel like everything around it is going to be better, taking some of the heat off of Darnold perhaps and that receiving core.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And so, yeah, it happens all the time. It was just, I don't know, that offensive staff last year, not every single coach, because they kept a few of those guys, like the running back coach, KP, Kennedy Polamalu. But, yeah, it just seemed like it was thrown together and and look, you can understand why. That was Mike Macdonald's first year. He didn't know exactly what he wanted. Now he's got a year under his belt as a head coach going, okay, I know what I want. And I think one of those things has to be, we need to be able to pick up 3rd and 1.
Right.
Right. And we shouldn't have to throw it every time, because that's basically where they got last year. They got to in a couple of games where they had no choice except to just huck the ball up.
Steven Ruiz, who's part of the Ringer NFL podcast, talked about the Seahawks offense, and in his opinion, got much worse, especially compared to other top teams around the NFL.
And I think with these moves, especially on the defensive line, you have Ernest Jones for a full year, that you're going to see a better first and second down defense, which is going to make their third down defense even scarier.
Even better, right?
But offensively, they're the only team in the NFL that lost a top 10 quarterback, in my opinion. And that's what I think Geno Smith is. And like Deontay said, you're replacing him with the antithesis of what they needed, given their offensive line situation and what their problems were on offense last year.
So he's kind of echoing what we were just talking about. He thinks the defense is going to be even better. You got Ernest Jones from the beginning of the year. Hopefully Byron Murphy, his second year in the league, he's going to be a completely different version. But just even with his inexperience or just being a rookie out there, that defense took such a big step forward in the second half. So I'm really putting a lot on what they're going to be, and I think the O-line's going to be better. Maybe I'm foolish to think that, but I think they're that, look, we all look at it and go, that's a problem. They know what it is. They know every last detail of what this guy can and can't do and what this guy can and can't do. And we're putting this is an area of focus for them. And I think it's going to be better. To what extent, I'm not sure.
Yeah, the only drawback, or I guess criticism of the offensive line, is that during these little workouts, you don't find out anything. You just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be in pads. You got to be, going full speed. And so, but, look, I think you're going to have to have guards that can run, and and so we talked about the offensive line. If this draft choice is as solid as can be, and then you got Charles Cross, Abraham Lucas, I feel like in Gray Zabel, there's 3 of 5. We've talked about that. Okay, the center and the other guard, maybe the guy on either side of him can help him out.
Yeah, one last one before we hit the break here. Ben Solak, he did his NFL preview on ESPN. Seahawks are one of his 3 least improved teams. He said, here's what he wrote. Seahawks offseason got a ton of coverage, so we don't need to rehash it all. But when Geno Smith, Tyler Lockett, and DK Metcalf leave the building for Sam Darnold, Cooper Kupp, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, you're downgraded in my eyes. The O-line still has big question marks, even if rookie Gray Zabel plays well. Coach Mike McDonald worked wonders with his defense last season and must do so again this year. So it seems to be kind of a consensus amongst some national voices out there that, they're taking a step back, which I guess speaks to that line in Vegas that seems sort of questioning. I was questioning that, but all right, I would still take the over. I would still take it. I think they're going to be a double-digit win team, and maybe at the end of the season I'll be going, well, that was dumb.
Well, maybe, maybe. And maybe part of it is because of the it's not super punitive, the salary for Sam Darnold. I mean, they got
1 year.
They got it off pretty, what is it, 37, I think we said.
Yeah.
That would be that's not much of a gamble these days.
All right, coming up, a couple of MLB experts have strong belief in one aspect of this Mariners team. We're going to hear about that when we sweep the dial. Coming up with Wyman and Bob, this is Seattle Sports on 710.
Brock and Salk
with our friend Jeff Passan.
I think that what we're seeing now is a version of how good the Mariners can be. The really exciting part is that George Kirby's coming back, and that Logan Gilbert's coming back, and that Bryce Miller's going to come back, and that all of a sudden, this team that looks like arguably the second best team in the American League is going to be adding 2 Cy Young caliber pitchers.
Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10 on Seattle Sports.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
The playoffs are in full swing, and you can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JOEQ. That's JOEQ to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Have your electrical checked today. A licensed electrician from Beacon Electrical will come to your home and perform a whole home inspection for just $99. Go with Beacon Electrical for all your electrical needs. Stop freaking. Call Beacon. 1-800-FREAKIN or online at beaconplumbing.net.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARN
today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Friends of Waterfront Park is announcing the Meet Me at Waterfront Park 5K on May 31st. Kick off a season of celebrations leading up to the grand opening of Waterfront Park with this all-abilities race. Experience Seattle's reimagined waterfront and be a part of history with this first ever 5K at Waterfront Park. Presented by Brooks Running. Seattle's new Waterfront Park is being built for you. Come and enjoy it. 5K registration and full schedule of events at waterfrontparkseattle.org. Brought to you by Friends of Waterfront Park.
Dave Wyman joined by the mayor of the city of Lacey, Andy Ryder. Andy recently underwent successful treatment for prostate cancer. His treatment method? Swedish CyberKnife. Andy, what would you say to anyone considering prostate cancer treatment?
I'm feeling very confident about my treatment with CyberKnife. I absolutely recommend it for anyone who has been diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Reach out to Swedish CyberKnife directly at swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish CyberKnife.
Guys, thinking about testosterone replacement therapy? Revive Men's Health can help you get started if you're ready to book your free T-check. Visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. That's Revive, REVIBE, menshealth.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
The home of the Mariners.
One hopper snared at short. On a quick hop by J.P. Crawford. That guy's a magician over there at shortstop.
Seattle Sports.
Download the Seattle Sports app.
Are you worried about economic conditions, tariffs, and inflation? Are you tired of trying to time the stock market? Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given current market volatility. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Hi, I'm Scott Rirucka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years with zero investor losses, averaging double-digit returns since inception, and we also accept IRAs. Over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Feeling uneasy? Don't gamble your hard-earned money or risk your retirement. Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited openings for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
Hey, Riverside Roofing is offering $1,000 off a new replacement right now. That's huge. $1,000 off. Quite the incentive for homeowners to book their roof replacement right now. It's Mike Salk here, and it really is a great time to do it. These days are getting long, right? Sunsets after 8 o'clock. Crews can get your roof done quick. So take advantage now before demand spikes this summer, making those repairs costly and time-consuming as well. Here's what you got to do to claim your $1,000 off from Riverside Roofing. Book a free estimate from the website, riversideroofingllc.com, and then you'll meet with Brandon, that's Don's son. Just tell him you heard the message here on the radio station. $1,000 back in your pocket, and yes, a brand new roof over your head. And while you're there, ask Brandon about their 35 years of local experience, GAF Master Elite certification, which puts them in the top 3% of roofers in the nation, and of course the catch-all system, which they use to keep your yard and driveway totally free of debris like nails or shingles. Go to riversideroofingllc.com. Remember, Riverside Roofing is the roofing company you can trust.
Scanning the airwaves for the most interesting and entertaining stories of the day. Sweeping the dial. Every afternoon at 4:45 with Wyman and Bob.
Presented by Silver Reef Casino Resort.
Well, the MLB Tonight crew was talking about the AL MVP candidates yesterday, and Harold Reynolds was kind of diving into, well, Cal Raleigh's projections. If they hold throughout the rest of the season, he thinks he wins the AL MVP.
But if Bobby Witt Jr. ends up with his on pace, which is, I think, 30 home runs, steals 40 bases, drives in 85, hits well over 300, plays shortstop, how is Cal Raleigh, who, if his on pace plays out, 54 home runs, 112 RBIs, terrific defensive catcher behind the plate,
I don't think the sport values catching enough.
If Cal Raleigh does that, he wins the MVP.
Over Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd have a legitimate
Although
shot.
if Judge hits 400, he wins it. But if Judge hits 320, 330, and Cal Raleigh does what you said, he wins the MVP. There's too much value in the catcher.
If he hits 400, he'll win it. What if he hits 380? He's still going to win it. Sorry.
Yeah, those still are really, really good numbers. He's just off.
400.
He's 398, Bob. It's not 400.
He's almost
Aaron
a 500 on base right now after 200 at-bats. He's got a 492 on base. I mean, it's a big hill to climb. And the catcher, obviously, that position is much more demanding than playing right field. But when your stats are as bloated as Aaron Judge's stats are currently, and if he's close to these, it's going to be his. And that's got nothing to do with how much you love Cal. We love him out here. Couldn't love the guy more. He's a phenomenal player. But come on, man. The numbers Judge is putting up are just ridiculous.
Yeah, those are crazy. Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting. I was looking at, the top of the list is 19, Shohei Ohtani, and 18. I'm like, oh, wow, those guys are way ahead. I'm like, oh, that number caught up to Cal. He's at 17, number 3. So, yeah, on base percentage. Obviously, his average isn't going to be great, but it's up from years past. I think he's batting around 250 right now.
254, yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's a long shot, but it is really impressive to look at what Aaron Judge is doing.
Sweeping the dial.
Well, during Sunday's game, Dan Wilson was ejected for the first time in his career, and afterwards he kind of explained what led to that ejection.
Just can't argue well with the and so that was that. But I think these guys, they fight hard, and it's their at bats are so good, and all the way through the day, just really good at bats, and so you feel for them a little bit, and you feel some of their frustration, but at the same time, it was just a tough one today.
Was that Las Diaz behind plate?
Yeah. Giant head, no neck.
Yeah, and it was brutal, really, both ways.
Yeah, he stinks consistently.
Yeah. So, yeah, and the whole conversation with Randy Arozarena started off very, it looked cordial.
Yeah.
And then it just, got away from it. But I like how Dan sort of doesn't answer the question there.
Didn't answer it at all. Did not answer it at all.
Can't argue
Just
balls and strikes.
That was where he left it. Then got into how hard the team played and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, no reference to what he may have said or...
I think he's the only manager I've ever seen that was kind of sheepish about it. It was almost like he was apologizing. And the reason why wasn't to be insincere. It was just because he didn't want anything to take away from what a great road trip they had. So, yeah, I just never could have imagined what he would look like, just raging mad. And we got that picture in our heads now.
Yeah, maybe he did let a curse word fly and he feels bad about it. I don't think he curses, though.
I think there was a lot of dad gummit and that kind of thing. I don't think
What could you have said to get kicked out then? Fascinating. If you're not cursing at the guy, you're not calling him names.
They always say, you can say certain words, but you can't say you. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where you start to get tossed.
Sweeping the dial.
I think he just asked him about trigger finger. Las Diaz was so confused, he thought he was insulting him and ejected him. That's my theory. I don't know.
Lefko.
Lefko with the dad joke. Congratulations. Welcome to the club.
I don't even know if that was a joke.
Matt's over there shaking his head.
Trying to bring it back to trigger finger.
Matt's over there going, nah, you shouldn't have done it.
Just play the clip already.
Do you want to intro it? Okay, I'll get back to it. The article came out about a week and a half ago about the Seth Wickersham book that had the revelation that Caleb Williams' dad really worked hard to try to get his son away from the Bears, did not want Caleb going to the Bears. So Ben Johnson was asked about that, about Caleb Williams' dad saying Chicago is where quarterbacks go to die.
I love it. I love the opportunity to come on in and change that narrative. That's where great stories are written. And so we're looking to write a new chapter here, 2025 Chicago Bears, and looking forward to the future.
You know, it was interesting watching that kid not that it's any better than watching on TV, but he had a difficult time, and I saw in a lot of the film that I watched, was that he has a difficult time throwing from a clean pocket. Like if he's on the run or if he's like dodging people and everything, I don't have the numbers to support it, but just what my eyes told me is that a lot of the incompletions were times where he was clean in the pocket, and a lot of the things that, you know, he made a lot of plays at USC like that. And, you know, in the game that the 6-3 barn burner that we watched, every time he was on the run, it seemed like he made a complete pass. So, yeah, I think it's kind of ironic that it would be that way. He's better at making plays with his feet and throwing on the run, but it'll be interesting to see if they can turn him into, you know, just a good pocket, you know, throw from the pocket type of quarterback, and hopefully keep him clean.
If you're an athlete coming out of college in any sport, when you want your parents, your family members, brothers, sisters, whoever,
shut your yapper.
Don't talk. Don't talk. You're not doing interviews. You're not doing, no. I'll speak for me. Just leave it. Nothing good seems to come from it. It's just, and you get some parents that are much more involved than others. You got you got Lorenzo Ball's dad and LaMelo Ball's dad out there just barking, making a complete scene.
Yeah.
Some are more aggressive about it than others, but it just, you know, why is his dad saying it? Even if that's what he believes, and I don't blame him if that's how he felt, but why would you put that out there? That's not going to make your son well received in Chicago. Yeah, the feeling was he didn't want to be here.
I wasn't like a national superstar or anything, but at certain points, you know, and you know what my dad used to do? He would come to every game and he would take pictures. And that's it.
Yeah.
No, never.
The end.
Yeah. Never any advice on the ride home or any of that stuff. And that's really what you need.
All right. Coming up, we're going to get Charlie Furbush's thoughts on this recent Mariners road trip. He's going to join us in studio for the next hour talking Mariner baseball. That is coming your way next with Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
Things have tightened up in the race for the top of the AL West.
Julio, an RBI double, and this game is tied.
Tonight, the first-place Mariners return home to T-Mobile, kicking off a 9-game homestand in the first of 3 against the Nationals. Wyman and Bob take you up to pregame at 5:30, first pitch at 6:40, on the home of the Mariners and the race for the AL West. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, Mike Salk here, and great news. This August, luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. Yes, the hotel is finally opening. You can book now for an unforgettable summer experience at snocasino.com. Breathtaking views of the Cascades in Snoqualmie Valley, an expanded non-smoking gaming floor, awesome destination spa, a 2,000-seat entertainment space and convention center, and yes, new food venues, restaurants as well. You can book at snocasino.com. Seattle's closest. It's now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Upgrade to an efficient heat pump AC now before the summer heat. And Home Comfort Alliance will save you up to $6,000 limited time savings. And you can take 18 months to pay with 0 interest. Call for a free quote. HomeComfortAlliance.com.
When you bundle renters and auto with Progressive, you can save while protecting your most valuable possessions. Like your really expensive limited edition sneakers and your new suit for your cousin's wedding. Except you never actually bought the suit because you can't stop buying sneakers. So you show up to the wedding looking like you're going grocery shopping. But hey, at least your sneakers will look good in the pictures. Until you're cropped out of every last one of them. So go ahead and get Progressive so you can save while protecting the things that matter to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
All power, zero compromise. Ego cordless outdoor power equipment features advanced lithium battery technology that exceeds the power and performance of gas without the noise, fuss, or fumes. From mowers and trimmers to blowers and pressure washers, one battery powers over 90 tools. No wonder it's the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Power beyond belief. Visit egopowerplus.com to learn more or to find an Ego retailer near you. That's egopowerplus.com.
We've all been there, sleepless nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. An accredited state university, University of Maryland Global Campus offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the lake or clean out your closet? RV wins! Putting the dishes away or taking the RV camping? RV wins! Cleaning the fridge or taking a trip to the beach? RV wins!
You might want to clean the fridge real quick because, mold.
We clean out the fridge, then take the RV out.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select Oil Filter for just $32.99 at O'Reilly Auto Parts. In-store only, limit supply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Go from daydreamer to industry leader with Amazon Business. From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to Bundle Deal Days at AutoZone.
Well, I do need a bundle of things.
When you bundle, you save.
Do I save if I bundle oil with an oil filter?
Save up to $12 on that bundle.
What about brake pads and rotors?
Bundle those and the brake pads are free.
Can't save more than free.
You can save on hundreds of deals during Bundle Deal Days. Ends June 2nd at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply. Duralast brake pads only.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Mariners getting back to it tonight after a day off yesterday. They start a 9-game homestand tonight with the Washington Nationals in town. They're going to send Logan Evans to the hill in game 1 of that series. You can catch it all right here starting at 5:30 with the pregame show. 6:40 first pitch, Seattle Sports on 710. Meanwhile, other games going on right now. Top of the third in Cleveland. Dodgers up 2-0 on the Guardians. They're in the top of the second in Baltimore. Cardinals up 1-0 on the Orioles. Bottom of the first in Detroit with the Tigers out to a 1-0 lead over the Giants. No score between the Phillies and Braves. That one in the bottom of the first. Still to come, Rays hosting the Twins. Mets play host to the White Sox. Red Sox in Milwaukee to face the Brewers. Royals host the Reds. Cubs and Rockies get together in Chicago. Rangers host the Blue Jays. The Astros playing host to the A's. Angels and Yankees in Los Angeles. And the Padres and Marlins in San Diego.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is serviced by the Lee Johnson Auto family.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Wyman and Bob.
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton.
He joins us every single week to spend an hour in studio with us and break down the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever's going on with the Seattle Mariners. Former Mariner reliever, part of a combined no-hitter, and is forever immortalized on the wall out there, walking out to the field. There's a picture of him out there. It's beautiful. Charlie Furbush is here. How are you, man?
Outstanding. I missed you guys. It's been too long. It's been like a week or two.
I know. You must have all kinds of things you want to say.
I have so many things. I can't wait.
Charlie, have you ever had trigger finger?
Have I ever had trigger finger? I don't think so.
Have you heard of trigger finger?
I may have heard of trigger finger. Yes.
Dave's trying to find somebody on that's simpatico. Like, yeah, I went through that.
It's just weird because I mentioned it because it's when your finger involuntarily clenches.
Okay.
And I just mentioned it, and we got 50 texts from people.
Is that like a cramp?
Kind of, but except you have to unpeel it.
Oh, okay.
You can't. Yeah, so it's a little more than a cramp. But anyway.
How do you get that?
Old age.
Apparently, age is what the texters are saying.
This guy said lots of birthdays.
Got yeah. Mm-hmm.
One day, Charlie's going to be trying to open a jar of pickles or something, and the finger's going to go when he's older and go.
He's going to go.
He's going to revert back to this.
I'll remember this moment forever.
He's going to reflect back on this.
I'll send you a
conversation.
selfie too when I take it. Yeah. Oh no, here it is.
Picture of his finger. I can't move it.
What's the treatment?
Well, Charlie, we were talking about this 10-game road trip and going in, and I think most players and managers are like, 10 games, we want to go 5-5. That's the minimum. Obviously, 6-4 is better. And I was saying that before this series. Go 5-5. Anything above that is gravy. They go 6-4, yet I come out of it feeling a little disappointed, and I think it's just because of how it ended and who it ended against. The Houston Astros, Jose Altuve. You lose 3 or 4 to them. You kind of lost some of that momentum you gained with that sweep of the Padres and everything. So how do you feel coming out of the 10-game road trip?
I feel good. I really do. I think you make a good point that it happened against the Astros, and it's a little bit of a unfortunate situation how that series unfolded. But this is a first-place team, and this team is, I think, a lot better than what it looks like. I mean, I see that. What had happened in the first 3 games in San Diego, you would say this team is incredible, right?
Yeah.
This team is looking fantastic. So it's in a matter of, 5 days, now we're saying, oh, no, they're not looking as good. So it's kind of the ebbs and flows of the season, but I'm really still very impressed with this club up until this point, and knowing where they're at in the division, it just gives me that much more confidence that they're going to be there in the end.
What's surprised you more? Is it the pitching and the fact that they've kind of had to piece it together without 3 of their 5 starters, or is it the offense and kind of the resurgence? Now I know over the last few games it's not been good, but for the most part they're top 10 in a lot of categories, which is surprising to me. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. The easy answer is it's a little bit of both, but I'd say I'm more surprised with the pitching aspect in a lot of ways, because usually when you deal with injuries and significant arm injuries that are taking pitchers out of their routine and missing multiple days, weeks, it leaves such a big gap. And when it happens to your rotation, you go, okay, now I have to get into the depth that I have in the minor leagues. Are these guys that I have big league ready? It's a really tough thing to pull off. So I look at the team and I go, I'm really impressed with what they've done from a pitching side, because it can really go south quick, and you could have given up a ton of runs, and the team could look completely different. But they've really done a good job of competing day in and day out, and it just feels like if they're in it late in the game, they're going to have a chance to win. So I think the offense is maybe coming a little bit more down to life, or more what we're expecting to see as of late. So I'm a little more impressed with dealing with the injuries. I think the offense is always going to kind of have that roller coaster feel, where they're going to have games and stretches where they're playing really well and they're hitting the ball, and then there are going to be games where they can't even hit a beach ball. So it kind of ebbs and flows. But I'm really impressed with the pitching, just with the injuries that have stacked up so far.
As far as the offense goes, I was looking at some individual numbers last night of guys who kind of carried this team through April. We were just Polanco was ridiculous.
Kind of carried.
Well, they did. It was Polanco, it was Crawford getting off to huge starts. Cal was great. Dylan Moore had a great start. Now I'm looking at him. J.P. Crawford on this road trip went 7 of 33. For the month of May, he's hitting 229 with a 326 on base. Jorge Polanco was ridiculous in April. Hit 370-something, over 400 on base. He was just ridiculous. He was 2 for 23 on this road trip. For the month of May, he's hitting a $155, 234 on base, 476 OPS. Dylan Moore, 5 for 30 on this road trip. Month of May, hitting 216 with a 281 on base. And then Leo Rivas, only because we were talking about, man, this guy's getting on base. He had a 500 on base for a while. He was just he wasn't doing damage, but he was just on base, and average was up there. He was 1 for 13 on the road trip. Month of May, hitting a $179, 281 on base. So guys that were big contributors to varying degrees in the month of April have all come back, some much more. I mean, Polanco's really extreme in the month of May. Any concern there with what you're seeing out of the group that carried this offense?
Not too much concern yet, but you mentioned those three guys. Let's remove Rivas from the conversation. And it's really, those are three pivotal players in the lineup that are going to have to play well for the team to do well. So when you see this stretch of 7 for 33 or 2 for 25, whatever it is, it just feels that it's so foreign. And in a way, when you look at it from the start to of the season to now, they have never dealt with this yet. So this is the first time of the year going, okay, I'm in a little bit of a slump here. I'm not seeing the ball well. How do I get out of it? So to make sure this doesn't snowball, this is like, I look at this series right now, with the Nationals in, as a pivotal series that you need to win. I mean, after losing to Houston, but it's the same thing coming. We talked about it before they went to San Diego. Hey, you had a rough homestand. You got to start the road trip off great, and they did it fantastically and swept San Diego. And it's the same thing when you get back home. You just had an off day. You're feeling fresh. You had a long trip. Let's go out there and get the job done against a team you should win. You should beat. So
right.
It's a very, I think, really important series just to stay on track, because you just end up digging that hole a little bit deeper and saying, okay, now Houston wins, we lose. It just becomes a lot tighter than you want it to be. But if you win the games you're supposed to win, then you just set yourself up for that much more success later in the year.
Hey, we were just talking about, possibly when the pitchers get healthy with in regards to Logan Evans, about maybe a 6-man rotation and, how that can, it seems like it's different with every team. We were talking to Rowland-Smith. He said he didn't think it was a good idea because guys get into like a rhythm. But, it does seem like if you have, could he be like a long reliever that, could end up sparing some arms in the bullpen? It's kind of like, which way do you go on that one?
Yeah, I mean, the 6-man rotation is an interesting dynamic that seemingly is more prevalent as of late. I think it can work, but just with the Major League schedule, and I just don't know if it's going to work most effectively, because, you bring up a good point of what Rowland-Smith said. It's like, yeah, there are routines. You do feel like you're okay, you're on the same routine, and you mix in an off day there, then it's like, okay, now it's a 7-day. Like, now you're not pitching for a week. So I think that it can take away from the guys that are used to pitching on 5 days, which is the entire rotation at this point. But now when you're dealing with injuries and you're going, maybe this is a better situation. Let's go to the 6-man. Let's take the load off of these guys so they're not throwing every 5 days. But what ends up happening is that you put your bullpen in such a tough position, because if the pitcher, it just becomes the most dispensable part of your roster is this bullpen. And if it falters at all, then you're going to have to go into the minor leagues to get new guys, because a starter goes and throws 2-3 innings, gets knocked out, and then you're going to rely on, I don't know who you bring up to, or who comes in those situations. And if end up someone has to throw 2 or 3 innings and they're not going to pitch the next day, they're going back down to Tacoma. And I think that just creates a really tough dynamic within the team. It's like, okay, yeah, we have Munoz, yeah, we have Brash, we got
Legumina,
Spire, you got the works, but it's like at some point someone's going to falter, right? And it's like, okay, someone's going to have to throw more. So I think the 6-man rotation, in theory, sounds good. Yes, it will keep guys healthier. They won't pitch as often, but I think it becomes a little bit harder to pull off in the long run, especially if performance falters.
Yeah, and to that point, we asked Ryan Rowland-Smith about this earlier, and I can't remember who was talking about Logan Evans having had experience in the bullpen, and that maybe an option would be to put him in the bullpen rather than send him down to Tacoma. Ryan was like, no, I'd rather have him get his starts down there, just send him down and keep him on his routine. What do you think of
Same.
that idea?
Absolutely. It's a great idea. I think
sending him down or putting him in the bullpen?
Sending him down.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's done a very good job up until this point as a starter, and he's learned a ton. Now, putting him in the bullpen it takes away that feel. Okay, you're not going to pitch as often, or you may pitch more frequently. So how does that change your routine? How do you feel? How do you make the adjustment? I think when you look at how this rotation is set up and the injuries they've had so far, he is a perfect guy to call up if something happens again. Right. And I think that making that transition from okay, you're a starter, we're going to put you in the bullpen, make the adjustment, be the long relief guy, whatever, and then, someone gets hurt, if that hopefully doesn't happen, but if it happened, then you got to go back to the rotation. I just know that's a really tough situation, something I actually went through, being a starter and reliever in the same year. It really it messes with your mental preparation, your physical preparation, because you're having to adjust to different situations, and there's not necessarily a familiarity with it yet.
Yeah.
So he's really familiar with starting. I think that just adds more value, not only, and I'm sure he wants to be a starter. So I would say putting him in AAA and staying with a 5-man rotation is going to be better off, because if someone got hurt, or if someone got traded or something happened, he's a perfect guy to call up to fill in that rotation, as opposed to having him in the bullpen and then bringing him back to the rotation.
You have to get stretched out.
Yeah, it seems like it's a lot of changes, a lot of workload. I think it's, as a rookie, and I remember it was just, okay, you tell me what you want me to do. Like, I'm here for the team. I'm just going to go all in. But at some point or another, you have to realize, okay, well, what's going to be the best situation for me in the long run? I should probably go down that road.
Do you think now the coaching is a lot more sort of progressive? Like, was it super old school when? Because I would say that was the case for me, certainly. But
yeah, I'm sure.
Nobody cared about my feelings. I can tell you that part. but as far as how they handle the pitchers and everything, have you seen it evolve quite a bit?
Yeah, it has evolved. I think one thing that's happened just from let's say the high school, college to the professional level is that, especially with pitchers, you're just seeing more arm injuries than ever, right? And I think that when I look at it this way, that's why maybe people aren't throwing as many pitches as they used to, and trying to limit injuries. There's obviously more money that are invested in each player, so you want to make sure that you get the bang for your buck as a team. So maybe I limit the usage so I works out through the whole contract. It's a fascinating thing, because I played with Detroit and Jim Leland, who was one of the most old school managers, who was like, yeah, I don't care. Like, talk about no feelings. Yeah, I only care if you're going to help my team win. That's it. Are we gonna win tonight? And are you going to help me, get a W?
Yeah.
I don't care how you feel. I don't care what position you're in. I don't care if you're doing something you don't want to do. But I think it's going to help us win the game tonight. Then let's go.
You said it all with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
Yeah, Marble Red. Yeah, exactly. But and then you get over to, I think nowadays in the coaches in Seattle and how players are handled or treated. I think it's just how does the team figure out the right messaging, the right way to treat a player so that they feel like it's worth it and you're getting the most out of that player. I think it's easy to say, hey, put your head down, go all in for the team. But I think the modern player is like, okay, well, I'm in it for the long run. I want to stay healthy. I want to try and get a contract. I want to provide for my family. So, it kind of can put you in a tough position, whether you want to be that guy that's all about, hey, it's about me and my process and what I'm doing, or am I going to go all in on the team and say, use and abuse me as you will, because I don't care. I just want to win, and I think that there's a fine line between that, because I think in my experience, I definitely was on the I want to win. I don't care. Just use me how you want. I want to be in the big leagues. I will throw right-handed if I have to. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't matter, right? So I think, but when you're other players, other situations, other starters I came up with, they're like, no. If a guy got called into the offense and was like, hey, we want to put you in the bullpen this year, and the guy was like, yeah, right. I'm not a bullpen guy. I'm a starter. And I think that's where, how do I navigate that relationship with players? And, you bring up the Logan Evans thing. it just comes back to, I think he's just better as a starter, and we've seen it at the big league level. So I think you roll with it.
Yeah. He probably also doesn't have that leverage to go, no, I'm not going there.
No, of course
not. Like Rafael Devers, who's out there going, not my problem. You better go find somebody else. You told me you didn't want me playing defense, so I'm not.
It's okay. I'll just gain 20 more pounds and play DH, right?
That seems to be comfortable there. Jeff Passan talking about, just back to the 6-man rotation thought, why now might be the time to consider it.
When you have Bryce Miller and Logan Gilbert back, let's look at what the rotation consists of. Luis Castillo, who has a clause in his contract about potential elbow issues. Brian Wu, who has never made it through a full season healthy. And 3 guys in George Kirby, Bryce Miller, and Logan Gilbert, who have been injured this year. If ever there is a time for this organization to go with a 6-man rotation, it would seemingly be this year, and it would seemingly make a lot of sense. Now, that doesn't mean that it's what they should do or that what they're going to do, but at very least, the logic behind it, it's pretty sound.
Does that sway you at all?
No. I'm not swayed. You know, he brings up a point. The logic is there, right? I mean, when you look at it from that side, it's just, I think the history of 6-man rotations, just there's not a ton of them, and there's not like this is the best 6-man rotation. We figured it out, right? And these guys are so good, and I just, and obviously I'm a bullpen guy at heart, and even though I'm a failed starter, I still think that's gonna. It changes the whole dynamic of the bullpen. Yeah, you got Munoz, you got the other guys, but what ends up happening is that there's one less guy out there. And if one guy, a Legumino, hey, you got to come in the 4th inning, man, and throw 3 innings. Guess what?
Yeah.
You're going to Tacoma after the game.
Well, he was their opener the other day.
Well, I know, but it's like that's what's unfortunate. A guy that's done so well, then you ask him to do one more thing for you, and then he does it and gets the job done, and then say they win the game. Then afterwards, like, sorry, we need another guy. Yeah. You're going down to Tacoma, and you got to stay there for 10 days. You can't bring it back up, right? It's just like there's the option. So I think it's a very, especially how amazing this bullpen has been in helping these team win games late in the game. So it's like to try and change that dynamic or mess with it. I just don't know if that would put the relievers in a tougher situation than they're already in.
Hey, do you have the hatred for the Astros that, Bob has, or people in general, though?
For sure.
Yeah, and with Jose Altuve, I'm wondering if that little creep, as Bob likes to call him, might be bottling up some of that anger from, because he gets booed everywhere he goes, and maybe has a little bit of extra edge against the Mariners. But you're in on that, right?
Yeah, I think that's what they call little man syndrome, right? But I was thinking about you, Bob, this weekend. I figured you were probably screaming at the TV saying,
it was killing me.
This is...
Part of it is the Astros, obviously.
Yeah,
Can't stand them. He was having a dreadful month of May. Hadn't hit a home run. It was batting under 200 for the month. He was having a terrible month. Or barely over 200, I should say. Then in this series, comes up with 8 hits, scores 5 runs, hits 2 home runs, drives in 4. It's like he's an all-star. In 4 games, he raised his average almost 20 points. It was maddening because the whole month, I mean, we're almost at the end of the month. He's had a horrible month. And then the Mariners come to town, and all of a sudden he looks like, 25-year-old Jose Altuve out there.
Yeah, maybe
he throws out Cal Raleigh from left field with his noodle arm.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Maybe I put that on the ground.
Maybe he just has enough experience where he just like, finally a team I'm comfortable against, because we play him so often. And obviously with the schedule change where we used to play him, 18, 19 games a year. Now it's just 2 times a year or whatever, 3 times a year. It's like way less. So maybe he's just a little comfortable. But, yeah, I feel the same hatred with the Astros. I don't really like watching them play. I don't watch. Just
don't like their colors.
Yeah,
Did you pitch in that park?
At them?
I did. And when you bring up Altuve, I just couldn't. I'm sour Charlie over here. I think he's like 2 for 2 with like 2 homers or something. He's like totally good, totally really good of me.
Did it throw you off that tiny strike zone that you had to work with?
I think the first time I faced him was in Houston, and I was amazed. And I think that's one thing that stood out to me right out the gate. Obviously, his height is one thing, but he stands so far off the plate. So it's, instead of crowding the plate on the chalk line, he's almost seemingly on the other side. And I looked at it and I was like, there's no way he can hit an outside pitch. He is and he's so small. He's got a stride. So I was like, I could just throw it outside all day. And I threw one, what I felt like that was off the plate. For all I know now, we could probably look at the video. It was probably down the middle. Most of the damn,
right down the middle.
But he hit it over the first baseman's head and hit a double down the right field line. And I was just like, oh, Okay,
I guess he can.
I guess you can hit that pitch. You know what I mean?
Got a little more reach than I thought.
Yeah, but
it's a really long bat.
It's a unique player. It's a guy that I think we can all love to hate because of the history, but physically, he's kind of impressive.
Very.
You know?
Before this whole thing happened, I used to be I was a huge fan of his. I really was. And I'm the same way in the NFL. Like when you see a little guy that can get it done, I respect that so much. Because I always had,
Is that like under 200 pounds? What's little for you? What's little for a football guy? Is it height?
For a linebacker, it would be somebody that's under like 220.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if they can run around and, that's – but, yeah, Altuve and that bat looks like it's as big as he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's impressive. But, yeah.
Enough of the Astros.
Yeah,
right?
It's a shame that
enough of them.
Okay, well, they went that way.
One other question real quick, and we'll answer it after the break. But would you rather – and I'm pretty sure what you think, but would you rather have the 6-4 or would you take a 5-5 road trip if you swept – the Houston Astros?
Is that a serious question? Would I rather have less wins?
See,
what?
There we go.
Anyway, I mean, that's what.
Yeah, but you're talking about 4 wins in the division with the team on your heels versus.
Yeah, but you're talking about the team that has missed the playoffs by 1 win.
I know.
So we're going to sacrifice that just to sweep the Astros?
Well, but you also have a huge gap between your team and the Astros, as opposed to now. You won 6, but now that gap's 1.5 games versus a 4-game sweep in that gap. So to me, it's more important than the division. Win the division.
Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, I that's obviously the most important thing, which is the Mariners haven't done in quite some time. So,
but you're not taking a W off the board.
No.
Okay.
I think it's just like, I mean, if you went 6-4 and you had a bad series.
You know what this is?
The
Bob?
Yankees lost to the Rockies, man. You know what I mean?
Know.
Yeah, that's right. This is a reasonable man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Got to look at the division, man. That's your road to the postseason.
You're still in first.
I want that gap.
Yeah.
I want that slack.
You win 3 against the Nationals, you'll be doing all right.
We tried to prime the pump here with getting all the stuff about Altuve and everything and hatred, Astro hatred. But he went back to.
It's too reasonable. Too reasonable. All right. Coming up, are the Mariners going to be in a position where they're going to need to make some moves at the trade deadline? We'll talk about that as we continue with Charlie Furbush. It's Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
Things have tightened up in the race for the top of the AL West.
Julio, an RBI double, and this game is tied.
Tonight, the first-place Mariners return home to T-Mobile, kicking off a 9-game homestand in the first of 3 against the Nationals. Wyman and Bob take you up to pregame at 5:30, first pitch at 6:40 on the home of the Mariners and the race for the AL West. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends over at Xfinity. You know, change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, we know that change is all around us. Songs are rewritten and remade. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists, well, they come and go. Even our taste in music, as we get older, can change a bit. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same. And that is the price of your internet. That's right. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Are you surprised? Well, life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Now, restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August of 2024. Go check it all out right online at Xfinity.com/deals.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV, RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the lake or clean out your closet? RV wins! Putting the dishes away or taking the RV camping? RV wins! Cleaning the fridge or taking a trip to the beach?
RV wins! You might want to clean the fridge real quick because, mold.
We clean out the fridge, then take the RV out.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states and situations.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Headed to the ballpark? Skip the traffic jams, parking fees, and the stress of driving. Make riding transit part of your game day ritual. Roll in with your crew, talk stats, and meet fans. No traffic, no stress. Community Transit riders enjoy seamless connections to light rail and ferries to get to Seattle and beyond. And youth 18 and under ride the bus for free. All in for the win. Plan your trip with Community Transit at ctgo.org/homerun.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
The home of the Mariners.
It is gone! Cal Raleigh, 2-run home run!
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
When businesses thrive, communities score. That's why Bank of America is the official bank of FIFA Club World Cup here in Seattle. And our more than 95 local business specialists are ready to help your business win. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
May I help you? I just wanted to request a late checkout, please.
Of course. That's $30 per hour for up to 4 hours.
Huh. Okay, but if you can offer a late checkout, then that probably means no one is staying in that room. So if it's empty, maybe I can just stay a few extra hours.
Oh, aren't you adorable?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Dave Wyman joined by the mayor of the city of Lacey, Andy Ryder. Andy recently underwent successful treatment for prostate cancer. His treatment method? Swedish cyberknife. Andy, what would you say to anyone considering prostate cancer treatment?
I'm feeling very confident about my treatment with cyberknife. I absolutely recommend it for anyone who has been diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Reach out to Swedish Cyberknife directly at swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
This hour is serviced by the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Wyman and Bob from the Quantum Fiber Studio.
Weekdays 2 to 7
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We're 52 games into a 162 game season, so you got 110 left. This is a team, as you point out, Charlie Furbush in studio with us, as he is each and every week, if you're just tuning in.
The reasonable Charlie Furbush.
I'm still taking division wins. Anyway, but this is a team that's still in first, but that it's a game and a half now. Assuming they're somewhere around this position come trade deadline, they're up by a game and a half, back a game and a half, who knows, somewhere in this neighborhood. You assume this is a team that's going to add. They better add. They better be adding. Jeff Passan was talking about some of the teams he feels like could be sellers when it comes trade deadline.
I think it starts in the American League East. when you look at the Toronto Blue Jays and the Boston Red Sox, and I know the Tampa Bay Rays have won 6 in a row right now, and the Baltimore Orioles, who are definitely out of it, all of those teams could potentially have guys who are desirable at the deadline. I don't know that the Texas Rangers are going to trade within the division, but they have been very disappointing, and yet they're only 4.5 games back. And then you look at some more of the dregs, the Nationals and the Marlins and the Pirates. I don't even know if there's anyone on the Rockies. The Diamondbacks have sort of been floating around 500 this year. They're an interesting team. Brewers and Reds have a couple of guys. The Cardinals have been fantastic, and they were a team that I think a lot of people were anticipating were going to be active at the deadline. It's just, I feel like even at the beginning of July, it still might be too early.
It's got to be bad when you talk about a team and go, well, I don't even know if they have anybody. The Rockies, I mean, what? Yeah. They're 9-45.
Yeah, that's tough.
9-45. And you look at the roster and go, there's nobody you want on that team.
I shorted them earlier, by the way. They have 6 wins at home.
Oh.
Yeah.
You were way off.
Of the 28 home games, they've won 6. That's just dreadful.
It's dreadful.
You can hear the crowd at that point, right? You can hear what individual people are saying. You can hear conversations.
Yeah, those are worse. But is this a team that you look at and say, all right, they're a bat away, they're multiple bats, they need another arm? What if you were the GM, just sort of looking at the future, like, all right, it's going to be here before you know it, and let's just play it out. Hypothetically, they're in this spot within a game, one way or the other, fighting for that division. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's a bat, no doubt. Like, I think that's where the impact can be made and felt throughout the lineup more so than the pitching staff. But as Passan said, he's right. I think it's easy to sit here and speculate, but got to get through June and the first 15 days of July, and I think that is more like at 45 days from now, right? Is like, okay, let's look at where the teams are at, if there has been any, slides or, you're suddenly back in it. I think that, because there's now 12 playoff spots, it just creates a different dynamic where, okay, if I'm still in it, then maybe I make a move, or, if where the Mariners hope to be here come July and they're still sitting in first, still fighting against the Astros and whoever else is clawing up at them, I would say, make a move, because this would be arguably the, how many times have you been sitting, let's say, in first place at the trade deadline, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're still sitting where you are today, come, a month and a half from now, then it's like, you kind of look at it and say, hey, well, the last couple of years we didn't do anything. And we didn't, it didn't make it. Our team was good, but not good enough. And obviously they were banking on the, how good the pitching staff was and staying healthy. Now suddenly this year is different because suddenly people are hurt. Okay, yeah. It's like, okay, now I thought I could maybe rely on it one way, but if I can still have the pitching staff be somewhat as good, but ultimately score more runs, then I think that's the recipe that will work better for them. But it would just be kind of odd to be in this position in July and not make a move, because we've seen what has happened when they don't make moves.
Right. Well, to their credit, last year they did get a Rosarena, and they took the flyer on Robles, who turned out to be a big addition for
sure.
him.
But that's, making moves like that, right, is like making a move to improve your team immediately is the most, like, the best way to get more wins.
Right.
So I just don't know why they wouldn't make a move if they had the opportunity in July and sitting in first place, because
well, it comes down to the prospects, right? It's like how much you value prospects, how much
of them.
We see how much you value them.
It's like, do you want to win at the big leagues or do you not? Like,
well,
I think it's like,
I agree. I think they're currency. I think prospects are currency. Yeah, they can be developed and come up and help you, but you don't have that kind of time. Your window is now, as far as I see it. And we keep kicking the can down the road, going, we're going to compete in this year. They're going to compete in this year. And I'm like, no. You got your full complement of pitchers when they're healthy. These guys are cheap by baseball standards. It's now. And we had John Morosi on, and he was kind of echoing the same thing, saying they can't afford to let another opportunity go to waste during this window.
You need to hit your window in a way that, for example, the Orioles did not. And if you needed any more reminder of how precarious pitching health can be, I present to you the first third of the year of the Seattle Mariners. They've lived this. There's been a lot of injury already, and yet they're still in first place in what is a very winnable American League West. And you look around the landscape of this league overall, yeah, we talked about the Tigers. They're a good ball club. The Red Sox are very average for me. The Yankees are still good, but they don't have Cole, they don't have Soto. There's a lot of key pieces from last year's team that aren't there anymore. You look at the landscape, if I'm a Mariner fan, I think it's very legitimate to expect that after a relatively quiet offseason, now is when you go.
What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. Pump the gas here, right? I mean, give yourself a chance to win because, as he said, you're most likely you're only going to have one window to do it, right? And you're living in the best opportunity the way the roster's set up. And you could sit here and say, oh, we have the prospects and, that's great. But I would say, half of them aren't going to make it. Half of them won't be legit. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just how it is, right? I mean, it's easy to say, oh, we have 6 of the top 100 prospects, right? Of those 6, you think they're all going to make it?
I think they've got 9.
Right, even more so. They got a starting lineup.
Not all 9 are not.
No,
they're not going to make it.
Exactly. So I think as an organization, you have to look at and do a deep dive of, okay, where are the skill sets and where are the gaps, and if there's any potential that this person hasn't reached, right, from a data standpoint, from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint, then maybe we know this before any other team knows, so we can ship this player off, even though he still seemingly has a lot of upside. Mm-hmm. So, I look at, just guys in the minors, I hate to bring him up because I think he'd get a good return, but, Harry Ford, right? I just think Cal's going to be the catcher for the foreseeable future. And the way that he, I think, is going to be played is he's going to have to be an everyday player. It'd be really kind of odd to bring him up and be the backup to Cal, unless Cal suddenly ships to full DH, which I just don't see that happening because he's such a good catcher. So if Cal got hurt, then are you going to just bring him up and leave Garver in the spot that he's in? I think no. They'd probably put Garver as the starting catcher, and I just don't think it'd be wise to bring him up as the backup catcher to get minimal at-bats, right? Yeah. So if there's no direct path based on the situation to get up and play, then flip him, right? I mean, we always said it coming up when I came up with the minors, oh, can you imagine if you were shortstop in the Yankees organization? You were never going to make it. You were never going to.
Jeter's got that
lockdown. So it's all right. So maybe for the next 5 years, Cal is going to be the catcher unless things change. So where does that leave Ford's position in the organization? It may just be better off with a different opportunity and get someone in return for him.
Coming up, how does the AL West race play out over these next few months? We'll get into that as we continue with Charlie Furbush in studio. It's Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
Things have tightened up in the race for the top of the AL West.
Julio, an RBI double, and this game is tied.
Tonight, the first-place Mariners return home to T-Mobile, kicking off a 9-game homestand in the first of 3 against the Nationals. Wyman and Bob take you up to pregame at 5:30, first pitch at 6:40, on the home of the Mariners and the race for the AL West. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
So I formed Davis Law Group about 30 years ago, and I would get, the same questions from people about what to do in the case of an accident. Do you need a lawyer? To the point where I decided that I would at least write a book which would answer the common questions that I would receive as a lawyer. Once I wrote my first book, it proved to be hugely popular. I decided to write then a series of books in different accident cases so that we could really teach people about their rights, how to protect them, and how to decide on whether they need a lawyer and what lawyer to hire. I've found in my career that having a client that is educated and knowledgeable about their particular type of case really helps the client and also usually ends up making the case or the claim more successful. To get your free copy of any of my Washington accident books, visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The
the total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning, life, and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions. We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. Visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
The home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Cal swinging a drive, deep to right field.
Every pitch of every Mariners game is on the Seattle Sports app.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com. The first Mariners Fireworks Night is coming up, and we're starting things off with a bang. Be here this Friday for our K-Pop Fireworks Show, presented by T-Mobile, after the team takes on the Twins at 7:10.
Jorge Polanco, his second home run of the night. He is absolutely on fire.
Get ready for an epic dance party as we light up the sky with a post-game show powered by the biggest global hits. Fireworks and Mariners baseball. That's 2 spectacular shows in one unforgettable night.
JP with a flip, and they got him at first base. How in the world?
Visit Mariners.com/fireworks to get your tickets and see the complete lineup of all 6 Mariners Fireworks Nights this summer, including a sing-along show on June 13th and a patriotic palooza on July 3rd. Plus, check out everything else on deck at T-Mobile Park, like 3 straight Mariners value games against the Orioles starting Tuesday, June 3rd. Mariners baseball. Try dance up.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Wyman and Bob.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We got Charlie Furbush in studio with us as we do each and every week, talking Mariner baseball. You guys can text in 866-979-3776. Mariners holding on to that lead in the AL West by a game and a half as we sit right now. What did you the Astros, for me, are like the Patriots in the NFL. Every year, people would predict their demise. Like, all right, they lost this guy, they lost that guy. They're not going to be that team. Every year, they'd find a way to win. Even if they didn't look great in the regular season winning games, they look like they were vulnerable. That's how I feel about the Astros. Oh, they don't have Tucker. They don't have Bregman. Alvarez is hurt. They lost this pitcher, that pitch. Until they're stepped on and out of the way, they're a problem. Do they look like a team that is a legit contender as you see it, or do you look at them as a diminished version of what they've been?
I think they are a diminished version, but I guess I'm a little curious. Who's the Tom Brady comparison in this Patriots comparison you throw out?
Yeah, it was always Tom Brady's getting too old. He's not going to be able to do it again. And it was just, that was always the feeling. Oh, well, they're not going to do it again. They lost this guy, that guy.
He's Altuve. Brady, that's the perfect comp, right?
Kind of. There was always a prediction of their demise and just kept winning.
I know.
The Astros have won this division the Mariners had a 10-game lead last year in June. 10.
Yeah, that was a tough one to watch.
It's the devil's work, Bob.
Oh, I don't doubt it. There are evil forces surrounding that team.
Yeah, I mean they're a solid team, and I think they're always going to be in the way, right? And I think that's just part of it, and the way that they operate the organization and how they move players around and acquire players. I think they're always trying to win. So I think it's just they're going to be a problem. As long as they're in the AL West, it's just they're going to be a tough team that the Mariners are going to have to fight against year over year.
Hey, what's it like for a player around the trade deadline? Because I got traded actually my rookie year, but
me too.
Did you?
Yeah. That's how I got here.
Okay.
Haven't left.
That worked out good for you.
I know.
I got traded and failed the physical and was sent back.
Oh no.
No, but I mean, I went up and asked.
Trigger finger knocked you. That's what you failed with.
No, my agent was like, "Hey, just go tell them," because they had drafted somebody else, whatever. But as far as I knew it was coming and everything. But what's it like for players that are you aware if you're like on the block or what's that?
You couldn't have teed me up for a better question, Wyman. This is great. So yes, generally speaking, players are aware for the most part. We're in tune with what's going on. They talk with your agents. Sometimes the team's a little transparent about it. More often than not, though, if there's no, if you're not in that situation, then there's honestly no talk of it. So how I got traded, this is a great story. I guess this was July 30th, 2011. I made my debut May 23rd. Out of the bullpen, got called up to the bullpen. Never pitched out of the bullpen in my entire life. First time, big league debut. And anyways, moved back to rotation. And it ended up getting sent down to Toledo over the All-Star break. But they moved me back to the bullpen, called me back up, and I'm in the bullpen at this point. I don't think anything of it. Detroit's in first, no big deal. We have a Saturday 4:00 game, July 30th. And, at 4:00 game, you probably got to get to the yard, I don't know, by 11, 10:30, 11. So I wake up at 8:30, 9 o'clock, turn on the TV. And, as players do, I'm sure you watch NFL Network and ESPN, when you wake up. So I'd wake up, turn on MLB Network. All right, need some games from last night, and then it's like screen flash, breaking news. It's like the Seattle Mariners and Detroit Tigers have agreed to a trade, and I boom on the ticker. There goes my name, and I was
no way.
Are you kidding me right now? Did I just turn on TV and find out I got traded? This cannot be real. So I call my agent. I'm like, hey, have you heard anything? He's like, no, I haven't heard anything. I was like, oh man, so this is like a speculation trade. Like I may not get traded. Like this is like a leaked thing, So I don't hear anything. He's like, you should just go into the field. So I end up going in a little early. Within 45 seconds of getting into Comerica Park inside the clubhouse, I got one of the clubhouse assistants was like, hey, Jim Leland wants to see you in his office. And I was like, oh man, this is real. This is happening. So I walk in. It's Leland, Rick Knapp, the pitching coach, bullpen coach, Jeff Jones, Dave Dombrowski, the general manager. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, so I had no control over the situation, so I was like, okay, this is just what has to happen. This is how it's going. And they gave me the spiel, like, we love you, but, they love you more, and they're really excited to get you. And it's like, all right, appreciate everything. Thank you. Go hug my teammates. And I'd go talk to the traveling secretary. And normally, it takes like a day or two to get traded. Like, you get your stuff together, you move out, they ship everything. I was on a flight that night at 7 p.m., and I packed up all my stuff beforehand. I landed in Seattle, and of course it's raining that night. Wake up the next day, it's raining, and I'm like, oh, I've never been here. Of course it rains. The roof is on. I'm just like, oh man. I get to the field, and I'm thinking I'll have like a day to ease my way in. Get called into the office, and they're like, hey, we'd like you as a starter, but we're gonna actually have you throw an inning in the game today. So the day after I got traded, I had to come here, and it was a day game. I ended up throwing in like the 7th or 8th inning and gave up a home run. I swear to God, that was the most nervous I'd ever been on a field, was when I got traded for the Mariners, my first time pitching for the Mariners. I was like, oh my gosh, this team really wants me. I better perform. I better do a good job, and give up a homer. I was like, oh, classic. And then what happens? I get called into the manager's office after the game. I'm like, no way. Just after that one performance, they're going to send me down to Tacoma? Are you kidding me? This can't be real. So then they call me, and they're like, hey, so you're actually not going to pitch out of the bullpen anymore. You're going to start the rest of the season. It ended up having 10 starts, and it didn't go so well. So, you know what I mean? A couple good ones, but a couple pretty bad clunkers in there, and the rest was history. But, yeah, it just was such a reminder, and I think that dealing with that is like, okay, you have no control. So it's just a reminder to say, hey, control what you can, control your emotions, control what you can do, and let the chips fall where they may. So it's just a crazy experience, though.
All that happened within, 48 hours?
No,
probably?
Less than that.
Less than that?
Yeah, I mean, if I got traded at 9:30 in the morning,
the next day.
I literally landed in Seattle the same day that night at 10, and then was at some hotel near the Space Needle. Woke up, I was like, oh my God, the Space Needle is so cool. This is amazing, But it was raining, and then what was crazy, too, I thought it was going to be just, kind of crappy weather throughout the whole summer, and then July 31st through the rest of the season, not a drop of rain, just absolutely perfect weather. It was like, oh my God, I didn't know it existed. And the next day too, I walked over to Pike Place Market, and I was like, oh, this is certainly cool. And then I go out to the park on the other side, and I saw Mount Rainier for the first time, and I was like, what is this place?
What is it?
What is this? This is a volcano. Oh my gosh. And you look over there in the west, and you go, this is the Olympic mountain range. And you see the Cascades. And I'm like, where am I? This is not Detroit.
This
you know
is
what
home.
I mean? Yeah. Now it's my new home. And I'm so happy that it happened. It's afforded so many opportunities and so many great relationships. And
met your wife
now
here?
I met my wife. Now I get to sit here with you guys.
You wouldn't have met us. I mean, that's
exactly.
really
that
where
would have been the big
I know.
loss.
We wouldn't be here today. You know what I mean? Exactly.
Charlie, as always, we appreciate it, man. Great stuff. We'll do it again next week.
I can't wait.
All right, there you go. Charlie Furbush spending an hour in studio with us each and every week through the baseball season. So if you missed any of today's portion of Charlie, you can find it on the podcast page after the show at seattlesports.com. Coming up, we'll catch up with El Hombre, Michael Bradley, and discover that we did a lot of learning today, apparently. That's all coming up next with Wyman and Bob at Seattle Sports on 710.
Brock and Salk
with our friend Jeff Passan.
I think that what we're seeing now is a version of how good the Mariners can be. The really exciting part is that George Kirby's coming back, and that Logan Gilbert's coming back, and that Bryce Miller's going to come back, and that all of a sudden this team that looks like arguably the second best team in the American League is going to be adding 2 Cy Young caliber pitchers.
Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10 on Seattle Sports.
Heading to the ball game? Don't mess with traffic and pricey parking fees. Make it easy and ride the bus. It's affordable and convenient. No stress, no hassle. And plenty of time to grab a hot dog before first pitch. Community Transit makes riding the bus fun, easy, and affordable. You save money on parking, and kids under 18 ride for free. See where they can take you and plan your trip today. Go to Community Transit at ctgo.org/homerun.
I've never had any complaints about my performance in the bedroom. But after turning 40, I noticed my libido just wasn't what it used to be. That's when I reached out to Revive Health. Their team knew exactly what I needed, which is why today, my wife and I are both more satisfied than ever.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, text BOOST to 65555 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com to schedule your appointment. Message and data rates may apply. Message frequency varies. Text help for help. Text stop to cancel. See privacy policy at ReviveMen'sHealth.com/privacy-policy. For info on how opt-in info will be used. And terms and conditions at ReviveMen'sHealth.com/terms of use for terms of short code service.
Get 0% financing for 72 months on Cat compact construction equipment at NC Machinery. Built for performance, durability, and comfort. Buy now and take advantage of 0% financing for 72 months at NC Machinery.
Dave Wyman here for Harley Exteriors, a local company serving all of Western Washington for 23 years. I'm excited to work with Harley Exteriors because they're my type of people. I met with Ray, Chris, and Nick at my home recently about getting our windows replaced. We've been in our home for over 20 years, and virtually every window has a broken seal. We talked about Harley Exteriors and their exclusive, high-quality Eurovinyl Olympic Series window. It's manufactured right here in Washington. They're designed specifically for homes in the Pacific Northwest, helping to maximize energy, efficiency, and beauty. It's a window you can trust to last the life of your home. It's very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. And through May, buy 3 windows and get 1 free. Harley Exteriors are big fans of the station, and they're excited to work with our listeners. Get in touch with Harley Exteriors for windows, doors, and more in Puget Sound. Call 833-HARLEY, HARLEY, or go to harleyexteriors.com.
Stream every Seattle sports show with the Seattle Sports app. Brought to you by Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center. Get new videos, podcasts, and articles on the Seahawks and Mariners from your favorite Seattle sports personalities daily.
Upgrade your home cooling before the summer heat with Home Comfort Alliance and save up to $6,000 while taking 18 months to pay with 0 interest. Visit HomeComfortAlliance.com. That's HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
During National Military Appreciation Month, we at University of Maryland Global Campus say thank you to the service members, veterans, and families who dedicate their lives to our country. We are deeply grateful. For over 75 years, UMGC has proudly served the military community, from installations overseas to the communities you call home. Wherever you serve, we stand with you. Learn more at umgc.edu/thanks. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk. A wireless company that actually stands for something.
An Aussie trekker travels to America to hike an epic trail.
It was rocky, it was imposing.
But Eric Robinson never made it to the end. I'm Dave Cawley. Follow my podcast, Uinta Triangle, UINTA, on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Mariners back in action tonight. Game 1 of their series with the Washington Nationals. First of a 9-game homestand. They'll send Logan Evans to the hill. You can catch it all beginning at 5:30 with the pregame show. 6:40 first pitch right here. Seattle Sports on 710. Meanwhile, other games going on right now. They're in the bottom of the 6th in Cleveland. Dodgers up 5-3 in that one. Bottom of the 5th in Baltimore. Cardinals up 3-1 over the Orioles. It's the Tigers up 3-0 on the Giants in the bottom of the 5th in Detroit. Phillies shutting out the Braves 1-0 in Philadelphia. That one in the top of the 5th. Bottom of the 4th, Rays trailing the Twins 2-0. It's the White Sox trailing the Mets 4-2 in the bottom of the 3rd. Top of the 2nd in Milwaukee. No score between the Red Sox and Brewers. Reds out to a 1-0 lead over the Royals, headed to the bottom of the 2nd. Still to come, Cubs and Rockies, Rangers, Blue Jays, Astros host the A's, Angels and Yankees, Marlins and Padres, and the Pirates and Diamondbacks in Arizona.
Snapshot brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
Yeah, you know what you can get me, Pee-wee?
What?
El Hombre.
That was a catastrophe.
I know.
That's a new low. Roz is better.
El Hombre.
The natural meets Rudy meets. I don't even know how to describe it.
El Hombre.
He's here, everybody. Every Tuesday at 5 o'clock. Unless we're being preempted by the Mariners. He's going to join us on this program on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. He is the one, the only El Hombre. Michael Bradley with us. How are you, man?
How's everybody doing?
Not as well as you. Your Phillies are up 1-0. I'm guessing you feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, but there's 2 on in the 5th, and Rangers Suarez isn't so sharp, so anything can happen.
Somebody just got plunked in the elbow, and
That's a replay from earlier.
Oh, it is? Who was it?
And they didn't do anything. Nobody came out and went after the pitcher. Nobody got hit for the Braves. What's this world coming to?
They've gone soft, Michael.
I know they have. It's awful. If Chase Utley were playing, he could have gotten hit in the head with a missile, and he still would have gone out and tried to get the pitcher.
You know what?
With a missile.
We don't see that, do we? I mean, has there been a fight this year? There's been 52.
Not that I know. I mean, I don't follow such things, but
of course not.
I don't think there has been.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's just a general. I mean, was that a situation where he was definitely sending a message, or
I don't know.
Looked like it just got away from him.
He seemed upset. Yeah. He took Spencer Strider. But you got to remember, Spencer Strider has a real bad relationship with Philadelphia fans. You know, we make fun of him. He says it's too loud. And tonight before the game, this is how cheap the Braves are. All right. Before the game, the Braves bullpen, they're stacked, and the Braves bullpen is on top. And the Philly fans were giving him a hard time when he was warming up. And one of the bullpen coaches actually called security and had people thrown out because they were heckling the pitcher. Seriously, I'm just telling you, it is unbelievable. If some of these players and teams were left out in the rain, they'd end up like rolls of toilet paper. They're Charmin soft. It's horrible.
Be stuck to the bottom of a shoe somewhere. It would be no good.
They fill up and whatever, and then they just get squishier. It's horrible.
Well, it's got to be fun watching your team. They've won 9 of 10. You're sitting there 34-19, one of the better records in all of Major League Baseball, sitting behind the Tigers. How surprised are you by the Tigers at 35-20?
I'm pretty surprised. I mean, they have a backloaded schedule. I was out in Detroit, went to a game last week, and I was looking at their schedule. And in September, they got some real tough teams they got to play. But this team doesn't have a lot of stars. You sit there and you watch the game, and you're saying, where are the all-stars? And other than Screwball, who threw a complete game the other day, 94 pitches, nobody in that lineup stands out as just a killer. And yet they're getting contributions from all over and just playing great baseball.
It's funny you throw out the complete game because it's become such a rarity. I mean, probably when I was a little kid, but when you were a little kid, the complete game was almost an expectation, was it not? Like, unless you're getting shelled.
Certainly 8 innings. I mean, and the only reason you went out was that you were getting bombed. And I mean, I was in Philadelphia lucky enough as a fan during my formative years to be there when Steve Carlton was there.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1972, his first year with the team, right, he goes 27-10. He starts 41 games and threw 30 complete games.
Wow.
There won't be 30 complete games in all of Major League Baseball this year.
Oh, my goodness.
30. And during his career, throughout his career, and I don't have this off the top of my head, so I'm not trying to impress you. He threw 254 complete games.
My goodness.
I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, that's
Never
ridiculous.
Never heard him talking about pitch counts.
Yeah. Hey, so is Philadelphia? I mean, I think it's a baseball town, but you got the Eagles that are doing so well. But right now, I mean, as Bob mentioned, hottest team probably in Major League Baseball right now. And so, which sport is more popular there in Philly?
The Eagles are more popular. There's no question about it. The Eagles are more popular. But this is a baseball town. I mean, it is tough to get good tickets to these games now. I mean, the place holds about 45, and if they have fewer than 35, that's news. So I mean, you're out there drawing 2.75, 3 million plus a year. So and look, I give the Phillies credit. They market the ballpark as much as they do the team. They've turned the ballpark into almost a food court. And there are people who go. I mean, and look, I'm not a big one on ballpark food. I'll get a helmet sundae, and I'll get a hot dog every now and then. But I'm not one of these people who says I'm going to pay $19 for a chicken sandwich and wobbly French fries. So, I eat before I go. But people go there and spend hundreds of dollars on food and beer. And if the Phillies lose, they're like, "Oh, I had a great time at the park." I'm the other way around. I come home, my wife's like, "How was the game? Did you have a good time?" "No, they lost." "Yeah, but you were with your friends." "No, they lost."
Yeah, and you don't go there for fine dining, it sounds like, too, which...
No,
yeah.
Please.
I mean, why wouldn't you go to the ballpark and just get a regular hot dog? You don't need anything
Well, I mean,
fancy.
that can be a little scary sometimes. They're not exactly grilling them. They're sitting in the water.
Oh,
so
that's not good.
Yeah.
Hey,
that should be the next challenge. Somebody's got to drink 16 ounces of hot dog water.
Hot dog water. Oh, jeez. I don't want to watch that challenge.
Bob just threw up in his mouth.
Seriously, man, that's awful. That is awful.
I'm a genius. I am a marketing genius.
You are. That's going to be a big one. Hey, how much do you pay attention to preseason evaluations of your team? We were just talking about a lot of the national voices out there looking at this Seahawks team going, yeah, they're worse. They're one of the few teams that got worse. They took a step back, and they're talking about, Geno Smith is gone, Sam Darnold is in, DK Metcalf is gone, Tyler Lockett's gone, Cooper Kupp and Marquez Valdez-Scantling is in. So I kind of get it, but I look at them and go, wow, the defense was one of the best, and it was a top 10 defense for the second half. They're going to be that from the beginning of the year. The O-line with a new coordinator, and they drafted a guard with their first pick. They're presumably going to be better. How do you look at them and go, this is a decidedly worse team than they were last year?
Yeah, and look, there's only one evaluation that you really should pay attention to, and that's my Philadelphia Eagles preview for Athlon NFL yearbook, Pro Football yearbook. So I do preview the Birds, and it's tough because, I mean, right now nobody's hurt. So you say, all right, if everybody's healthy and everybody performs well and everybody gets along and the guys are supposed to step in for the people who left play well, then you got a good team. But, that's tough to turn into practice in like week 8 or 9. So I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to it. You know who's supposed to be good, but there's always one team that is not good that's supposed to be, and one team that is good that's not supposed to be. Last year was the Commies, where made the playoffs and beat the Lions.
Hey, Michael, I was just looking at Bryce Harper, and I don't know how well received he was there. I know he was that was Mike Trout anyway. Bryce Harper, he seemed like maybe he was a little bit of a head case, whatever, and now it seems like he's kind of grown up. And a similar thing happened with Alec Baum, where, remember, he said something about, I hate these people here or something, and now all of a sudden...
I hate this effing place.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, I mean, it's kind of cool, like, Philly has kind of turned to the good side on both of those guys, and it just seems like the kind of town that, forgives you after you take some punishment for a while.
Well, look, they didn't punish Harper when Harper was signed. Are you kidding me? I was at the first game when he came and signed that contract. You would have thought that that there was the second coming. The place went bananas for him from the beginning, and he's not stupid. Like, he wears Philly Fanatic cleats.
Yep.
He wears a headband that has the Philly Fanatic eyes on it that the kids wear.
Didn't he get a tattoo?
He's not dumb. Yeah, he plays to the fans.
Yeah.
And Bohm was smart. After he said that, he stood up and he didn't double down and complain and why is everybody so mean? He didn't do that. He said, hey, I love this place. I was frustrated. I'm sorry. And guess what? He got a standing ovation.
Yeah.
So Philadelphia wants people who will stand up and take responsibility for their actions, good or bad, and they want people who try hard. If you don't try hard, you're going to get booed. Plain and simple, there are very few guys in this town who, if they dog it, will get but people aren't going to get on them. I would imagine right now Saquon Barkley is one of them. Bryce Harper right now is one of them. Zach Wheeler is one of them. There isn't very much after that. Tyrese Maxey, maybe, of the Sixers, but there's not a lot of them. But if you don't do it in Philly, you're going to get booed, you're going to get yelled at, and you should. You're getting paid a heck of a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, Bryce Harper, I guess I just think for me anyway, nationally, I mean, he seemed like kind of a jerk early on, but then he really turned things around. It seemed like, and I think the whole thing went back to that fight he had in San Francisco, where he rushed the mound and
he was carefully curated, right? They didn't put him in college. He went to junior college. He graduated from high school early. It was all set for him to get to the majors as early as he possibly could. So, I mean, he came off as sort of that arrogant guy who was too good too early, right?
Yeah.
And he had that sort of persona and that look that people want to hate. Look, when he goes around the majors, he's not getting cheered in other cities.
Yeah.
He gets booed. So it's kind of like the Pete Rose thing. When Pete Rose was with Cincinnati, my goodness, the Phillies fans hated him. And I was chief on the train. When he was in the middle of that 46-game hitting streak that he had, he came to Philadelphia, was 0 for 4. Comes up in the top of the ninth. Mike Schmidt, he must have had some deal with him, is playing him in short left field, and Rose lays down a bunt. Schmidt barehands it and doesn't even throw. I threw a cup of water I was not happy. I had the remnants of a Soda King and threw it. I was so upset. But when he came to the Phillies, he's our guy now.
Right. Well, and Harper, he's outgrew all that in Washington. He was the kid out there. He was the one. That's a clown question, bro. Remember that?
Yeah.
That shows you to be like that brat, right?
Yeah.
That's a clown question, bro.
Yeah. So
the media does ask some dumb questions. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, you got to be a little. You can't say stuff like that.
Who's the team you fear most in the National League? Is it the Dodgers?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if their pitching ever gets it together and they're healthy, they're going to be scary. I mean, Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani in the middle of that lineup, along with all those other guys.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez. Yeah.
What do you do? What do you do with that lineup? Oh, we're going to walk Ohtani to get the – oh, no. We'll walk the Betts to get the – no, it's a mess. So, I fear them. Exactly.
Hey, let me ask you, we were talking earlier about sort of your perception of the Seahawks, and and I guess I can kind of see my way clear because of the quarterback situation, and new coaches. It's 2 years with two sets of offensive coordinators, and so how do you view that? I mean, I guess I can understand that the win total, the over under, is very low, just because it's the quarterback and it's the coaching, but. I don't know. We all feel like Bob was saying, are we drinking the Kool-Aid? I guess we are, compared to everyone else around the country. But to me, it seems like a very low number. Is that a low number? I think it's 8.5.
Yeah, I don't think it is at all. I think it's right on the nose. I mean, this is a division that they're in. The Rams were an incomplete pass away from beating the Eagles in the playoffs. Let's not forget that. That's a good team. Got an established quarterback and a very good coach. The 49ers, I don't know about them. Is Christian McCaffrey going to be healthy? What's Brock Purdy going to be like now that he got paid? So, I mean, I would have them third in the hierarchy there. Now, that doesn't mean they don't make the playoffs because so many teams get in. But, they got some teams they got to climb over in order to get into the, further, higher up into the NFC hierarchy. But 8.5, 8.5 could mean 10, right? But it also could mean 6.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm going double digits here, barring catastrophic
I
injury.
haven't seen their schedule. So, I mean, I know they've got the NFC West twice each, but I don't know what their other 11 games are. The Eagles play every single playoff team from last year, and they play the AFC West. They're going to play, the Chargers, the Broncos, the Chiefs, all of whom made the playoffs. They got like 9 playoff teams on their schedule. They got a really tough schedule.
Wow.
He is El Hombre, Michael Bradley, with us each and every Tuesday at 5 p.m. You find him here or you find him on Twitter at Daily Hombre, at Daily Hombre on Twitter. Michael, as always, we appreciate you, my friend. We'll do it again next week.
So long, suckers.
There he goes, everybody.
It had a different tone to it.
There he goes. It was delayed hang-up.
Sincerity.
Yeah.
There.
Our thanks to Michael Bradley. By the way, the Mariners hosting the Nationals tonight, and the T-Mobile Park roof will most certainly be open. It's a beautiful day outside. So that's the Mariners Roof Report, brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Let's get to what we learned.
This is a house of learned doctors.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
What did we learn today?
No one's a bigger idiot than me.
Stupidity is the easiest way out.
So we learned a lot, according to what Lefko wrote here. There was a lot of learning today.
So much learning.
So much learning.
Where did
So
Lefko
much learning.
go? Where is he?
I don't know, but it's great, isn't it?
He's prepping.
You know what the worst part is? He's listening right now. He's in the T-Mobile booth.
That's a great part.
And he's listening right now.
Yeah.
He heard me make fun of him just now. And that makes me happy. And he can't reply to it, which makes it even better.
He might send you a text in a minute.
Oh, I'm sure he will. He can't help himself.
He gets a little excited when he's doing pregame.
A little.
Yeah.
It's a little tightly wound. What did we learn?
We learned that Ryan Rowland-Smith had some trouble understanding us today.
You think he's ever had trigger finger?
I'm going to say no.
You ever had trigger
What?
finger? They say
Trigger
lots
finger.
of, you know what causes it? Lots of birthdays.
What are we talking about? I am so lost. Is this a dad joke?
I just brought up the fact that I had a finger twice now where when you start to curl it, it'll just clamp shut and you have to like pull it open. So,
Man,
I got
I've never had
I
that.
got like 30 texts from people going, "Oh yeah, my dad had trigger finger. My mom has trigger finger." A lot of older
I've had people not understand me when I've been on air, but I've never had the trigger finger. I've never had that. I don't know.
I just like your genuine confusion there going, is that a dad
Is this a
joke?
joke?
I don't know
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Hey, while that clip was playing, guess what happened?
A dad joke.
I got a text from Mike Lefko.
Did you?
Yeah.
What did he say?
We don't need to talk about it.
Oh, you can't read it.
He's listening, though?
He's listening.
Oh.
He's always listening.
It's nice he was able to text in between bites of food he had sitting next to him. So that's nice. Hopefully he's all prepped and ready to go with plenty of time to spare.
He gets, like I get it, being nervous about getting down the street to T-Mobile Park because you never know when there's going to be traffic. But when Mike has to go from the director's chair to the host chair, it's about a 20 feet maybe commute there. He gets his stuff all ready and everything to go over there.
Yeah.
And then he goes out and he just does a bang up job. But yeah, it's just the before part.
What else did we learn?
We learned that there is a heated competition for King of the Dad joke.
I was pumping out some good dad jokes over the last couple of days, let me tell you. I stack them up. When I get home from the road, I just smash out a few dad jokes.
Just unleash them on the family.
I'm the king of dad jokes, for sure.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. You got
What do you got?
I'm the title holder.
I'll be quick because I know you guys are going to go to some important sponsors or whatever.
Yeah.
But Dave, you weren't here. I was talking to Bob. I told him the story about that blunt pencil a couple of weeks ago. You know what? It's got no point. All right, guys. I'll see you next week.
He was very proud of that one.
A blunt pencil. Yeah, and I didn't even really anticipate that there was something up there.
I was sitting there trying to remember.
It's a blunt
Wait,
pencil.
when did we talk about pencils? That didn't happen.
The most fun part was watching the realization creep over Dave's face. It took a few seconds, but he got there in the end.
Maybe I got out dad joked there. You think?
I think so.
Yeah.
You fell for one.
But
He was very proud of that one, too.
Yeah, he was.
I like that. The smile, there was a lot of satisfaction in his face.
Yeah, he's one to be proud of his jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
That's fine.
He felt satisfied. What else did we learn?
We learned that Dave has experienced an injury that no one else knew existed.
You ever have trigger finger?
No.
Or it just involuntarily, if you like kind of curl your finger, it'll just all of a sudden clench down and you have to like pry it apart.
No, I've never had the trigger finger.
Yeah. I mean, and I went in and got a cortisone shot and was like, oh man, that feels great. Same thing on my wrist a couple
You had
years
trigger
ago.
wrist?
Not trigger wrist, but just like had like some inflammation in there and it was just grinding and everything.
That'd be weird if all of a sudden your wrist just went. Trigger finger. Yeah, I don't know that I've heard of that.
Yeah.
What causes that?
I don't know what causes it. I just had it. Yeah, apparently it's old age. Lots of birthdays. That's what somebody texted in.
Yeah.
But there was like 40. I mean, I was willing to let the trigger finger thing go. Just say it one time.
No, you were not.
The explanation to Bob, and then I'm done. I'm out. Then 40 texts come in about trigger finger.
Something people can relate to, I guess.
I think you
didn't know
brought it
was so
up
common.
almost every segment of the show.
What'd you say?
You brought it up every segment. You can't say that you were going to let it go if you bring it up
Let's
every
see.
segment.
I didn't ask Ryan about. Oh, yes, I did. I didn't ask Charlie. Oh, wait, yes, I did. Yeah, we brought it up maybe 4 or 5.
What do you mean we?
It's amazing.
Who's we?
Yeah.
Who's the
okay.
we in that
I
sentence?
I did. It's amazing where you get great radio from. Really.
Yeah, great radio. Speaking of which, Bob's hatred of Altuve led to a theory about Dan Wilson's ejection.
I don't know what he said. I don't think Dan curses.
I don't think he
so
does either.
I don't know what
I think
it was
there was a
he
lot
said.
of dad gummit and that kind of thing going
Friggins.
on up there.
Yeah. I think he was. I told you what I thought he was saying, but I can't repeat that. Something about Altuve. But yeah,
Everything has to do with Altuve. As
he
much
just-
as you think I bring up Cal, you bring up Altuve.
Well,
you're speaking him into existence.
because he just wrecked this team for over 4 games. It's very present right now. Yeah, it is. Unfortunately,
Bob
he had a good
hates
series.
Altuve. That's
Sports
all
hate.
there
I
is to it.
don't wish harm on him, the little fella, but he annoys the daylights out of me. All right, that does it for us. Want to thank our guests, Ryan Rowland-Smith, Charlie Furbush, and El Hombre Michael Bradley. If you missed any of it, you can find it on the podcast page. We'll talk to you tomorrow with Wyman and Bob.
Things have tightened up in the race for the top of the AL West.
Julio, an RBI double, and this game is tied.
Tonight, the first-place Mariners return home to T-Mobile, kicking off a 9-game homestand in the first of 3 against the Nationals. Wyman and Bob take you up to pregame at 5:30, first pitch at 6:40 on the home of the Mariners and the race for the AL West. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rureka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Get 0% financing for 72 months on Cat compact construction equipment at NC Machinery. Built for performance, durability, and comfort. Buy now and take advantage of 0% financing for 72 months at NC Machinery.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Now more than ever,
Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Ladies, and you guys too, have you noticed visible signs of aging, those deep wrinkles, fine lines, and facial creases stealing your youthful glow? Sagging skin, crow's feet, and loss of facial contour are all natural effects of aging, but you no longer have to let them define your appearance. Introducing the new Skin Lift, the groundbreaking facelift led by Dr. Brian Scott. The advanced new Skin Lift addresses key signs of facial aging for women and men, restoring natural youthful contours. Whether it's replenishing volume lost over time or lifting the skin to smooth out those creases, the new Skin Lift can help you look 10 to 20 years younger with both surgical and non-surgical options. It's Hollywood's best kept secret and now available to you. Get a free consultation and save $250 off your new skin facelift. Schedule at newskinlift.com or 206-222-1225. Look 10 to 20 years younger and restore your youthful appearance with the new skin facelift. newskinlift.com.
An Aussie trekker travels to America to hike an epic trail.
It was rocky, it was imposing.
But Eric Robinson never made it to the end. I'm Dave Cawley. Follow my podcast, Uinta Triangle, UINTA, on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
The home of the Mariners.
Left off to center. It is on its way. Julio, 2-run home run.
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, Brock Ewart here for my friends over at Xfinity. You know, change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, we know that change is all around us. Songs are rewritten and remade. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists, well, they come and go. Even our taste in music, as we get older, can change a bit. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same. And that is the price of your internet. That's right. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Are you surprised? Well, life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Now, restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August of 2024. Go check it all out right online at Xfinity.com/deals.
Hey, it's Ryan Rowland-Smith for Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. I dropped 30 pounds and honestly, I feel amazing and it has been so easy to keep off. But I didn't want to just lose weight. I wanted to be in the best shape of my life. Look, I'm in way better shape than what I was even when I was playing. I've lost all that visceral fat, which is super crucial long term, and now I'm sleeping better. I've got way more energy, and I'm actually maintaining the results. I'm not guessing anymore when it comes to diet. I finally understand my body. The meals are simple, I'm never hungry, and they fit into my lifestyle. And yeah, now that I've dropped the body fat, I can still enjoy an Aussie meat pie on the weekend, and I'm not stressed about it. After speaking with Dr. Coogan, it all made perfect sense. Yes, it was going to take some discipline, but trust me, the results were well worth it. So if you're ready to take control and feel like your best self, go to eastsideweightlossklinik.com and book a 15-minute consultation. It changed everything for me, and it can for you too.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle.